Remember this day, man, for it will be yours for all time.
We have shown them that a trembling hand can become a fist. We have challenged the idea that a slave must always know his place, excepting Rod and Lash because he was taught to accept it. We built their mighty republic with our hands and our blood and our lives. And we can see it fall at equal cost. You opened my eyes to this, Spartacus.
This is where we hold them! This is where we fight! This is where they die! And these shield boys give them nothing, but take from them everything!
You see, old friend, I brought more soldiers than you did.
And I'm going to continue to move until we get the total ban on the total initiative relative to what we're going to do with more Border Patrol and more asylum officers.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either. Look.
You had told us at a town hall, I think it was in July, that the
many years going through this game. Many. Been doing this since 2018. I want to say hail to the chat. Tell everybody new that's coming through. Thank you very much to Stark for throwing out a shout out. Greatly appreciate you. I would like to say that if you have a voice and you want to use it, if you have an opinion, one that is not liked by the mainstream media, one that is not promoted by platforms that have let's say a far left leaning. If you enjoy your modern mythologies, if you enjoy your comics, if you enjoy the legacies that they have brought to us, to our tables, to our lives, the construct of these modern myths into the people that we are today, make a YouTube channel, make a voice, have your voice heard. You can use your phone. That's how author Stephen Walton began. Whatever you believe in, if you believe in yourself, believe in it. Make your voice heard. Do not kneel to anyone giving you the finger, using those things that we love as cudgels to beat us up, to beat us over, to espouse narratives that do not exist. My brothers and sisters, hail to you. This is Rogue Entertainment, and tonight we are on Dragonstorm and Officer Steve Walton channels. So my Dragonstorm audience, and this is going to get a little bit of what Steve Walton used to do before I was talking about narcs. Thank you very much for being here, guys. Please support the channel, and if you would, I'm trying to raise some funds for a family member who had to pay medical expenses, and they are in dire need. The whole family's come together and help as much as they can, but we could use a little bit more. And if you can, please donate and give a hand if you can. Thank you guys very much. With me tonight is the one, the only, my number one, the man who's going to help me rebuild Rogue Entertainment, the reality-based himself, Ryan Roger Anthony. What is up, my brother?
I'm doing very well, my good man. I'm looking for plenty of Saturday night hypnosis pre-shows, and my first thought was Rogue Entertainment, a show that has been there and done it for many years. Many great creators, many controversial creators have been through this show, and it would give me no better pleasure than to see this show that has been there and done it for so long, the recognition that it deserves just from its history alone and its future potential, with a reality-based rescue package. No, it's not that desperate. But with some support from reality-based, I'm sure that Rogue Entertainment can do very well into the new era with a new generation of up-and-coming content creators. I should know. I've analyzed hundreds of them.
I need you, Ryan. I need that reality-based. I need someone standing with me who knows how to talk to different people, take different opinions, and doesn't take it personal and is able to communicate. And that's what I've needed. I thank you very much for joining the team and being a part of that, dude. I'm going to be leaning on you a lot. With us also, my number two, and I don't mean doo-doo. He was taking number one before the show. I almost went live while he was pissing, and I asked him if he would listen to Ryan's voice while he was urinating, and which Ryan went into a diatribe. He's a real trooper. This is a very sexy man. With us today is when I first discovered him, up-and-coming YouTuber, very talented man. Guys, please check out his channel. Mods, if you could throw out a link to Stark of Iron, I would greatly appreciate it. What's going on, brother?
Well, I heard somebody was talking about being on their phone, and I figured I'd, take it back old school like that. No, seriously.
Are you on the toilet?
No. And to answer your question, brother,
knowing Americans, I'm surprised he's not fucking the toilet, Stephen.
You listen here. I'm not above toilet humor on my channel.
You go, boy.
But I played with it exactly 4 times. I shook it exactly 4 times because 5 is right out. You do have to count to 3 whenever you pull out your holy hand grenade snake. I know, kind of a reach. I'm also going to be kind of like your sound engineer. So whenever we hear our good friend Ryan say something incredibly funny, which is usually all the time, you're going to probably hear some rim shots and stuff. So I will be your sound guy. So
the most important thing, my brother, the sound man of Rogue Entertainment, I have to ask, did you wash your hands?
Well, does brick acid count?
With us is also Rogue Entertainment veteran, been around for years, been a wonderful, wonderful helper, someone that I love very much, and she knows how to wash her hands. Bad take, Tina Bojan.
Tina! Everybody give a round of applause for Tina. Yay!
Oh, look, a female with an education. This should be very interesting.
Yeah, I know. We're rather threatening, aren't we? But hi, boys. Happy to see you all. I haven't been around much, but I thought I'd pop in and make sure everybody's behaving.
We are absolutely not behaving. When Ryan's on the panel, behavior goes out the window, Tina. You should know that.
That's quite true. That's quite true.
How have you been, sweetie? How's everything with you? How's the Senator podcast? I heard you promote those guys last night. How are they?
Oh, they're absolutely great. I've known as their number one follower because I am the only one that tweets the fact that their show exists. Chad and Slender don't. And I'm usually the first one in the chats every week because I work from home on Fridays. So right after dinner, I set my little alarm at 10 to 9 Eastern to hop into bed and get relaxed with the drink and halfway through the show I take my Ambien, so then I'm very entertaining in the chats after that. So.
You take your what?
And Ambien is a sleep medication. And it's really kind of fun because you
don't have taker.
Well, honey, I take a lot more than just Ambien. So if you want to talk drugs, we can talk, but all of them are prescribed. But anyway, but seriously, it's kind of, the Ambien is really funny if anyone hasn't taken it because you start to do things that you don't remember. And then when you get up in the morning, you have this retroactive amnesia. So it's like, I can be completely alert and carrying on conversations with people, and then the next morning I will have absolutely no idea what it is that we chatted about, what it is they told me. I've been known to get up and walk around the house. We finally had to get an alarm on the front door, so I didn't leave the house.
So you took a Joe Biden pill.
Exactly. Yeah, I took a pill and all of a sudden I was 50 years older, but yeah.
So Mr. Bojan, does he take advantage of this, or is he like just trying to catch you just to make sure that you're good?
Well, in our younger days, yes, Mr. Bojan would take advantage of that fugue state, but we have, it's the summertime, we have both boys home for visiting, especially on the weekends, plus we adopted our little puppy about 6-7 months ago, so it's kind of hard when this little 5-pound fluff ball sitting at the edge of the bed. It's a little intimidating, I think, in terms of performance.
That's an intimidating hound. I don't even know where to go with that. I don't want to insult anybody's ED.
I will. One second, Ryan. I do have to build up and support Mr. Bojan because they refer to him as Good Take Bojan as opposed to me being Bad Take Bojan on a Sunday Art podcast, and he's always the one to kind of keep an eye in the chats how bad my comments are becoming, and then after a while he's like, okay, he takes the phone away. Sometimes he'll tell the guys, she's gone too far.
Mom, man.
Yeah, and they're waiting for the day that Mr. Bojan will let me go on stream after I've taken my Ambien because they want to see me in action, not just in the comments. But he keeps saying that there's no way in hell he's ever going to authorize that. But
you could do a cooking show while he's away, and you could cook up your poodle.
Oh, that'd be horrible. That would be very, very horrible.
Then you wouldn't remember it. And it's like, I cooked up and ate my poodle. Oh, how Korean.
Well, she's cuter than a poodle because she's a Malshee poo, which means she's part Maltese, part Shih Tzu, and part toy poodle. So
you have a globalist dog. It's just a racial mix of everything.
That she is. She actually looks if you took a husky and shrunk it down to be only 5 pounds and shortened the snout. She's all dark gray on the back and she's white at the ends of her legs and her paws and her underbelly. So she looks like a husky, but a little tiny mini version.
Do you have a picture of this dog? I'm interested in knowing what this
Yeah,
dog
we
looks
need to
like.
see it.
Okay, I will
Show us
look
the
for
pooch.
one. I will look for one while I let Ryan talk. So
Tina's dog is the future of the human race, just a fucked up mix of everything and everyone.
Great. We're gonna
But
be
it's- but it's-
seeing the pets from Little Future from South Park all looking like Tina's dog.
Well, we got a lot of things to talk about over the next few hours, folks. I'll have to depart at like the 1 hour 50 mark because I'll be on Saturday Night Hypnosis with Kaida, who is the special guest. Yes, he is black, but he is a great guy. We'll be talking a bit about the first presidential debate between the Supreme President Joe Biden as well as President Dementia Pedophile. We'll also talk a little bit about the fact that Ubisoft is quadrupling down on being a shit games company, and talk about how the upcoming Concord game, which looks like a ripoff of Overwatch made by Sweet Baby Inc., as it is losing its fucking mind over the fact that it can't make anything original to save its life. So what are we going to talk about first, Rogue King, who's very humble?
My brother. Well, you're going to have to bring me up to speed on the Gamergate 2 stuff.
Sure.
You got to bring me up to You're going to have to. So I will bring up the article for Ubisoft first. And give me a moment. Before I do that, I want to say hail to chat. Hail to Keely Chow, longtime supporter. God, been in the Rogue chats for as long as I can remember, man. It is so wonderful to see you. Thank you for being here, brother. Let's see. Dante Alex is in the chat. What's up? Good to see you. Hail. Hail, everyone. Good evening. Mephisto's in the chat. Thank you very much. Appreciate you being here. CJH, hail the fourth wave in the chat. Thoughts on RFK? He should have been allowed to debate, but Big Pharma doesn't want him to. Well, we'll talk a little bit about that. We're going to spend about the last hour.
When you speak like this, I don't think you should be president because you cannot speak properly.
I don't know. I think if he was sounding like Gilbert Gottfried, he'd sound better.
Well said. Hail all. RFV is here. Thank you very much for being here, brother. Achille Chow out there supporting everybody. Hail to you, and thank you very much for doing that. Let's see. Just want to make sure I don't miss anybody. What's up, Low Spec? Is that Pickles? Hi, Pickles. Good to see you. Oh, there it is. That's a cute puppy. Is that as big as it's gonna get, or is that?
Yeah, she's at 7 months. She's full grown at 5 pounds. Her name is Cinder because when we first adopted her, she had a little bit of tan, but she was ash colored, dark gray, as well as black. But as her puppy coat grew out, she's now a lighter gray with the white chest and.
Are those little bows? Are those little bows in her hair?
Yes, she was sitting for her picture when she came back from the groomer just recently, and they dialed her up. They usually do one little bow on top, but they did 2 bows this time because it was that was for her 6-month birthday. So
I think the 2 bows look better than the one. Actually, I don't even have to see the one. Very cute.
Yeah. She is adorable.
I shall refrain from commenting.
Ryan, you think it's adorable?
I think this is a first world issue. There are many black and brown people starving to death in shithole countries, and we've got a privileged liberal white woman with an education showcasing her pet poodle, which could easily serve as a meal for many second and third world people.
Trust me, if there were any starving families in my town that we weren't already feeding, I would definitely buy them a pizza before I would give them my little puppy.
No, they're eating each other because it's Chicago.
Yeah, didn't they ship all the Mexicans to Chicago suburbs, Tina? Isn't that where they're all at now?
Yes, unfortunately, we haven't received buses in our town because we're rather small, but where my sister lives, which is literally 10 minutes away, they're in Cook County, which is the same county as Chicago. So Chicago said we don't have room for all of our neighbors that is across the border from the south. So they filled up a couple of buses and dropped them off in the middle of a suburb. No forewarning, no nothing. This poor village. I mean, village makes it sound like a small, but it's a big town. And yeah, they had to put them up in hotels because they literally had no place to put them. But they had fined the drivers, so the drivers would refuse to go back into Chicago to return them in terms of the bus is concerned. So
it's just like old times, Tina. Demon rats bussing minorities.
Yep. It's pretty sad. But thankfully that little ruling was overturned. So now all the buses are still being
Take
dropped
that
off.
dog off the screen. It's making me hungry.
Well, she wasn't finished telling the story.
Well, the only thing left to tell about her is Cinder, even though it applies to her coat, it's actually short for Cinderella because she's Princess Cinderella. So, but
she
now
is a princess.
Imagine that dog's wearing shoes.
She's adorable, Tina.
Next thing,
Chaos
Ryan will have dogs playing poker.
Chaos always in the chat. What's up, Chaos, man? I appreciate you. Thank you very much for your praise, and I appreciate you. MC Mike does from the Dragonstorm channels in the chat. What's going on, dude? Good to see you. Thank you very much. Let's see. Josh is in the chat. Hail to you. What's up, Lizzie? Roseanne got canceled for being on Andean because she said some stuff online, Tina. That's what Lizzie says.
That is very true. I remember hearing that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I do remember. I remember her going batshit online. Yeah, and it was about the Ambien. It was about the Ambien. What's up, Popcorn? Good to see you. Hail to you. E-Clay's in the chat. Hail, brother. Phil TMNT. Guys, please subscribe to some of these awesome, wonderful quotes. Oh, what's up? What is up? Tyler Mango, the fourth weight mascot, in the chat. What is up, dude? This is my oldest fan. This guy right here used to have another a name, Tyler Mango. He'd come in with me, Bear, Spork a New Podcast, Final Death Star. He was in here every week when I first started. So it's good to see you, brother. Thank you for being here, man. Hail to you. Parrothead is in the chat. Good to see you, man. And now we're going to talk about Ubisoft, because I need to get familiar with all of the things that everyone is talking about. And I scanned over this article earlier. So, I mean, can you give me a little bit of a preface here, Brian? Of
course. I mean, Ubisoft folks have gone from being a mid-level dislike games publisher and developer to being one of the most despised publishers and developers of gaming. Their reputation is even worse than Electronic Arts, and they were hated for a very long time and still are. Now, when it comes to Assassin's Creed Shadows, big controversy. It's set in Japan, and the main protagonist is a black man. Yasuke, or however the fuck you pronounce his damn Japo name. He is a character. It has caused a bit of controversy. Yes, you can play as another character, Nawe. I do find that ironic because, the black male is Yasuki, while the white Japanese or Korean-looking bitch is like, no way. So the idea of those two being together is a bit of an annoyance. But this has caused backlash to those who want Assassin's Creed to stay true to what made those games great. Assassin's Creed Shadows does not do that. It's basically a black man in Japan causing chaos. He's no assassin. No way is doing that. That led to a controversy. We've got the CEO now denouncing those who are highlighting the problem with Assassin's Creed Shadows, because it's a clear indication of diversity, equity, and inclusivity nonsense, poisoning yet another franchise. Add that to the fact that Ubisoft haven't really made an original game for the best part of a decade, maybe a decade and a half at this point, means that they have gone from being a studio that not many people dislike to being one of the most despised. I don't know if say, Tony, do you have a perspective on the Assassin's Creed Shadows situation, or is this all...
I saw it, I glanced over it, and was able to put 2 and 2 together and get 4, which is shocking because, insert American joke here. The point is it's not Assassin's Creed. Now, Assassin's Creed has always been a series where you play as somebody from history, and it's usually a person that belongs in a certain territory in that particular era of history. And they've been, we went to Egypt, we went to Greece, we went to the Caribbean, we went all over. We went through multiple points throughout time. And this is just a blatant disregard to history. It's like, okay, why is this guy got a Japanese name?
Well,
Why
this is the first. Well, this is the first time, Tony, that you play as a historical character. In previous Assassin's Creed projects, you would play as a fictional character in a historical setting, often interacting with those who are historical,
like Socrates and Leonardo da Vinci and those guys. Yeah.
Okay.
Please.
Well, we are going to read through this article a little bit. Let's see. I gotta blow it up. I gotta make it a little bigger.
He went from suck to blow, ladies and gentlemen. He went from suck to blow.
This is all part of a wider culture war going on as Tony showcases his failing effects. This is all part of a wider culture war issue, which is Gamergate 2.0. Started off by Cabrutus, who only highlighted the games projects linked to a company called Sweet Baby Inc. Everything they touched turned to shit. And he got a lot of backlash for highlighting their involvement, and it unraveled this vast conspiracy of all these bloody, annoying companies behind the scenes, these consulting firms that would charge egregious sums to essentially wokeify, in the new sense, all of these great franchises and poison new ideas. A great example would be Tales of Kenzera Zhao, an indie project that was entirely based upon diversity, equity, and inclusivity. And the game bombed, so much so that the creator of the project would sometimes release the game on sale for absolutely nothing. And even then, no one would get it because of the progressive poncery, as I like to call it.
Aggressive puncery. I like that.
That's a PP joke if I ever heard one.
Ubisoft CEO. Oh God, here we go. Yes, Guillemot. Say that right?
It's French and it's annoying.
Thank you, Welsh.
It would like be Guillemot or something like that.
The game. Thank you, Tina.
Ubisoft CEO, French fucking female, has reacted to the malicious and personal online attacks directed at some of the company's employees, denouncing these comments and standing behind his work for his, with a name like that, fucking hell. In an interview on the Ubisoft blog, Guillemot was asked to discuss what things about the video games industry dismay him and what makes him excited for the future. Starting with what dismays him, Guillemot singled out the online attacks, and though he did not mention any specific game by name, it appears he is reacting to the reaction by some fans to Assassin's Creed Shadows.
When he says reacting to attacks, does he mean criticism?
Yes.
Okay, just making sure.
It's not just by some fans, it's by the majority. The trailer for Assassin's Creed Shadows, both the gameplay trailer and the world reveal trailer, were both ratioed on YouTube, which just goes to show that the majority of people interested in this are viewing it negatively. And all content creators are doing, and have done for years since the days of the old fandom menace, is that they highlight the problem with popular culture. Step 1 on the 3 steps to victory. Highlight the problem, find the solution, and be the change you want to see. Now, step 2 and step 3 ultimately destroyed the fandom menace, but on step 1, they were absolutely on point. And that's all new generations of content creators are doing. They're making names for themselves, And as trust in the entertainment establishment slowly but surely collapses, I think there's going to be a cultural desert, and Ubisoft will be, I think, one of the first to fall because of all of their financial woes. They lost $200 million on their Skull and Bones project. So they can't afford another financial hit like that. I think, though, Assassin's Creed Shadows will still make money. It won't make as much as previous projects, mainly because of the controversy.
Well, it has a strong following. Assassin's Creed's been around forever. I've even played a couple. But when you begin to attack fans for criticizing, and especially when you inject, well, I mean, what have they injected? What are they injecting into this? What has made it so? What's the hyperbole about?
First of all, the main character is a black man. Second of all, he's a historical figure. Not much is known about him because he was only in Japan for about 18 months off the top of my head. He's portrayed as a black samurai, which is complete bullshit. And he's this sort of avatar of justice, like a black man. So
he's an Afro samurai, is what you're saying. Okay, yeah. Just making sure. Okay.
And he looks a bit like George Floyd as well.
All right. Please continue. Please continue, sir.
It's just we've never seen this kind of backlash with an Assassin's Creed project, but with the introduction of, what I like to call woke ideology in its latest form, it has been the straw that's broke the camel's back with Ubisoft, because Assassin's Creed is a great example of this. Likewise with Far Cry. It's essentially the same game repackaged over and over and over again. It's not as egregious as, say, EA with their FIFA games, although it was so egregious FIFA said, fuck you, EA, we don't want you in our football game anymore. But people are just sick and tired of what Ubisoft have done. This project is the first example of that within an existing franchise, not a new one like Skull and Bones. And I am sure over time, more and more people will realize Ubisoft is the problem with gaming, not the solution, and abandon it. And Elon Musk boils it down very well, and as it's stated in this article, DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusivity, kills art.
Absolutely.
And it does.
It does. Agreed.
Excuse me.
No, that was a great. I was there's this video that I saw. Red Gaze had just shared it, and I was going to bring it actually. I was going to show it tonight, but I don't think we have the time. Well, we will have the time. But it was talking about cluster B culture. They're calling this. We're coming into a cluster B culture where we popularize certain conditions that are hyper emotional or hyper absorbed and put them into our politics and our entertainments and keep them aloft. And one of the things that was said in the video, or pointed out in the video, was that these types of people, they all depend on emotional reactivity. They depend on keeping you hyper emotional, or getting others to support their claims by using, preposterous ideas, but keeping them in this this victimhood, fighting against the oppressor kind of position. So if you come out and if you yell, trans rights, for instance, or someone's rights, in response to a critical objection to art or to policy, then it completely dismisses the argument itself, and it invokes it gaslights and invokes this emotional reaction in others who also feel the same way or don't live in reality. Somebody has a mental illness. But, your Antifa types are harvested like this or brought up like this. You seen a freaking, have you guys ever seen a list of the Antifa people who are arrested? They don't look like your everyday citizens. They don't look like mentally well people, and they're not. The argument is always a diversion. It's always a preposterous argument. And most times it's brought up by someone who was intentionally trying to provoke. So people in gaming, at least when I saw Gamergate 1, the first Gamergate, I covered this in Phantom Menace Volume 1, and that's really what it was. Protecting a woman who was sleeping around to get reviews by gaslighting that men were misogynist and hateful and racist, and it's all the ugliest thing you could possibly say, completely deflecting and gaslighting from the actual issue itself. And it feels like the same thing is happening here. You've got a Ubisoft CEO basically saying there's hateful and awful and grotesque attacks and comments being made by gamers who are criticizing the game itself. So a franchise that they love, literally attacking the base of an entire franchise, and gaslighting them. These types of arguments happen over and over, again and again. I mean, we're going to talk about the debate later. Joe Biden was doing that the other night.
Well, a lot has changed, though, Stephen, over the past 10 years. 10 years ago in 2014, when the original Gamergate first occurred, the trust in the mainstream media was at an all-time high. Support for the establishment was at an all-time high. And in regards to content creation, it was still in its infancy, and a lot of creators that were around then, that are around now, are now prominent when they were back then only up and coming. The prominent creators back then are either dead, insane, dying, or have been completely embarrassed, and everything in between in that regard. There's a whole new generation. There's been whole eras that have come and gone over the past decade. One of them is the fandom menace. But it just goes to show that as time goes on, as new generations of content creators rise, fall, rise again, hopefully in this man's case, when it comes to pop culture content creation, not just highlighting the problem with narco demons, as I like to call them. You've got tranny demons, panty demons, narco demons, cluster B demons, lots of demons.
It is, and it's not just narcissistic behavior. I mean, it's a lot of different types of illnesses out there that all depend, like mental illnesses, personality disorders, that all depend on provoking emotional reactivity. Because when you present an absurd argument, like we saw in Gamergate 1, like we're seeing right now with Ubisoft, when you present an absurd argument, and then rational people go, well, I don't understand. This doesn't make sense. Why are you saying this when I'm talking about something else?
It's designed to drive you mad. I mean,
it's just exactly.
Think of a batshit insane statement like, for example, I don't know, black people have never built civilization in the past 6,000 years. Now, that is an egregious statement designed to provoke a reaction. Doesn't matter if it's true or not. In the case I just made, it is true. But it's designed to provoke a reaction, to test the waters, to gauge what kind of a person you are. In a single sentence, all of your mindset can be revealed. And I think on a subconscious level, these fuckers have that instinct, but they don't know their own tactics. It's more instinct after years of indoctrination.
Of indoctrination, and also I think learning from others. You know, like if you are a person who is angry and you're looking for someone to project that anger on, and you find a group of people who give you an excuse, who point the finger and say, hey, these people are the problem, you know, like maybe, a subculture in a country, then you can easily teach, or can easily graft into that group by having something to hate, by having something to fight against. And it usually all stems from issues inside them, their own inner turmoil, their own inner hatred, or lack of self-worth, and all of these things. I would talk about this a lot on Dragonstorm. And it's funny how I've gone through this education, the self-education and learning from others that I have, and have come to understand like progressive, progressive ideologues and, extremists. No, they really are extreme. And it all comes down to blaming someone else for your own issues, having someone to fight so you don't have to work on yourself, or so that you don't have to push harder and achieve. Like, we literally have a system that's put in place now, especially with the advent of social media, where it's so easy to find a cluster of haters, point the finger at someone else or something else, and all come together to hate, and have a grand old time doing it. I mean, Tony, how do you feel about what's going on with the situation with Ubisoft?
It's just another pawn on the chessboard, ladies and gentlemen. That's really what this boils down to. They are wanting to break down everything that we have in our pop culture, because the first steps to programming a society is to mess with their bread and circuses. If you take away their entertainment and make them angry, they'll want anything, literally anything. And so what they then do is they shill out them shit sandwiches at the cafeteria and say, here you go, we got your lunch right here. And as a result, people start to go, well, it ain't that bad. Oh, there's a good scene here or there. This
A
is
lowering of standards. I've
a
definitely
lowering of
seen
standards.
that over the past 10 years. And you
Yes.
think in a financially based world, this mindset wouldn't be able to stand. Unfortunately, folks, there are two companies, one in the United Kingdom, one in the United States, that doesn't need a dime to survive this century. And that's the BBC for the UK, and that's Disney for the US. They could literally create shows. In the BBC's case, they have literally created shows for BBC4, which is usually the program the old people watch, that thousands of people watch on a show. Barely enough for it to be on broadcast television, but they keep releasing it. They're not a financially based company. They never have been, never will be. They've never made a profit in their 100-year history because they rely on the license fee, which is something you have to pay or you're getting fined a lot or put into a fucking prison. In Disney's case, they have literally more money than sense. They're valued at $250 billion. They could lose billions a year until the end of this century and still be firing on all cylinders operationally, so they don't care whether their projects make money or keep viewership. And how do you fight them in a financially based world where they don't give a damn if they don't make a dime? That's why I'm still going to be around when I'm Steven's age, which is about, 18 to 20 years, around that figure, because I don't need a dime in order to keep on going and keep on growing. The last 3 years have been living proof of that. But in a financially based world where you live or die by making money, especially if you're an American, how do you fight someone who doesn't exist, or something that doesn't exist or need to survive under that mindset? No wonder you haven't been able to beat these fuckers, and no wonder they've grown and infected your societies.
I mean, money has to have something to do with finance, has to do something about it. I don't know, it's like, Tina, do you agree with that? Do you think that they're just going to keep losing money and not care?
That's entirely possible. Absolutely. I think that's an excellent projection by Ryan. But I think that if they're able to make a mistake, and someone like Iger, who thinks that, he shits gold, might just take that wrong step, make that wrong statement, so that you can not just have the conservative population be against Disney and its organization. If they just defend the right marginalized group, then it starts to steal away from their profits. Then if more people stop their subscriptions to Disney Plus, stop visiting their parks. I mean, I read an article, I unfortunately don't remember where it was from, a couple weeks ago, about the fact that they were analyzing the generations from the boomers all the way to Gen Z and their attitudes toward Disney, not so much the corporation itself, but when you think about the ideal Disney vacation, what does that entail to you? Your boomers, your Gen Xers, like, oh, we go to California and we go to Florida and then we spend these days in the parks and then we do this and we do that. Well, you talk to Gen Z and the millennials, and they're like, Disney's nice. Like, I think their movies might be good, but nobody talks about going to the parks. Nobody talks about staying at the resorts. Because when you've got comparisons like Universal Studios down the road, at least in Florida, that they have this mass appeal, and that new world that they're building, forgive me, it has something to do with gaming and Nintendo or whatever. And I'm sorry, it's probably making people's ears bleed that I don't know what it's called, but those silly little things like Mario Brothers and stuff. that's going to have a greater appeal, because that aspect of at least our Gen X, and I say our because I know that as in there's, I think there's maybe like 3 people out there that are my age, but that still have that nostalgia for Disney. We're losing that as there are new fans of new Star Wars, but I don't think there's enough of them to ever compete with the original Gen X 70s kids that fell in love with the movie and
you talk about Generation X, 1965 to 1981. Sorry, guys, most of you are getting on in your years.
And we are one of the smaller generations too.
It's not 2004 anymore, folks. There are new generations of people. I'm not going to count the millennials because they're just a generation of fucking spineless fuckers. 1981 to 1996, but
they're not all bad.
Hey, man. I'm a spiritual Gen Xer. All right. I was born in '83.
No.
Yeah. See, I was born in 71, and my kids were born in 99 and 01. So
there will come a time, ladies and gentlemen, the content creators I'm interacting with here, where you will interact with a content creator who will respond to this question: where were you when 9/11 happened? And they will say, I wasn't born.
Isn't that crazy to think about?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
The march of time, consistency, and dedication, the final great foe of a content creator, none of us can beat because we will all die eventually.
I'm wondering if, Ryan, no one's like Tina was saying, people are talking about staying, at the hotels and stuff at Disney. I wonder if this is one of the reasons. Do you think that maybe...
Exactly, because those of us that are in Gen X who are going to start bringing our grandchildren to Disney because we want that nostalgia when we were brought to Disney as children are not going to put up with that. I'm really sorry.
Grandchildren? What grandchildren? Younger
I'm
having kids?
I'm a grandfather, bro.
That's very true. That is very true. I think my puppy is the replacement for a grandchild for at least the next 5 or 6 years.
All the more reason to cook it up in a pot and eat it. We need more people.
Ryan.
I think that Tina, you're right. Like, I loved Disney when I was growing up. I remember, I was one of the rich kids who had cable in the early '80s. You know what I mean? Like, hardly any of us had that. But there was the, you had the Disney Channel back then, and they would play all the old black and white cartoons at night. They would play the movies that, some at the forefront of animation. And this is not on the roster. I wouldn't feel right bringing, my grandson to this.
And I think that we in Gen X are tolerant. Remember, we were the ignore generation that raised ourselves. That you be you, boo, whatever.
I went to the Rocky Horror Picture Show every Saturday night. Yeah, I'm tolerant.
Exactly. And we would not have.
Did you wear underwear?
Yes, I went as Frankenfurter at 16 years old. There is a picture somewhere, you will never see it, of me in the full getup from heels, fishnets, garter, the whole nine.
My God.
Yes.
You must dig that up.
I will never show it to
homosexual.
That might even replace the coffee enema scenario there, Stephen. So.
Listen, I'm just saying I was inclusive before it was a word, okay? That's all I'm saying.
What I was saying, though, is I think that there would be no problem with me going to the little place. I forget what it's called, but that's when they dress up all the little girls and spray glitter in their hair and get them all dressed up in pretty princess dresses. If there was a fairy godfather, I don't think people would mind. Dude comes in coordinating pants and vest like that matches what the fairy godmother in training are wearing. No problem. I don't think people would mind. It's seeing a male-looking individual wearing a dress and calling themselves a fairy godmother in training is like that little step too far. I think for us old folks.
Fairy tranny demon special.
So many lumberjacks doing that extra work for Disney on Wednesday. I swear to Christ.
I look at that image, and then I remember when I was a child, anyone working at Disney couldn't have any facial hair. And now we
Mhm.
have a man with a mustache in a dress.
Well, I
It's
look at that
inclusive.
picture and I think, where's my flamethrower?
Well, okay, now I've got another kind of angle for that though, Ryan. All right, because all right, listen, men have historically in plays played women's parts. Right, this is not anything new. So, what about the evil queen bit though? What about the evil queen? Being a. What do you think?
Tranne
That's not
demon
bad.
dabado, shele vala mela, shalala
not
hela
that bad.
dabado, rada
You know-
diado. I'm like doing a tranny demon chant mixed with
How
my
do you do?
tranny demon
I?
dabado, shele vala delma.
How do you
For
do?
me-
I see you've met my
With my
faithful middleman. He told me that I'm fair and let's not be square. I need a candy man. I'm just a sweet evil queen from transsexual Transylvania.
I don't think it's too bad, Star. I mean, actually, Tina, what do you think? Is that bad? Is it?
It doesn't bother me as much because
As much.
because he looks perfect for the part. But there are
Yeah.
also plenty of unemployed actresses with that similar stature, facial structure, and voice that don't have a job because, you know.
Tony
I
brought up
understand.
something very interesting, tranny demons from Transylvania. If they were all based like in one area, one region, I would immediately nuke that fucking place.
Oh my god!
Immediately.
That is so horrible. They're just looking for post-op, man. You wouldn't do post-op? You're not into post-op? You wouldn't
Where's
take
my
post-op?
chainsaw? I'll post-op them from the neck down.
A little nip tuck with the old Black & Deckers, just what the doctor ordered.
But how
David Prince.
I mean, how can we defeat these evil empires that aren't financially based? How do we defeat the likes of Disney, the likes of the BBC?
Honestly,
it does
voting
sound
them
difficult.
out.
Well, yes.
No, it's
yes,
like
Paul.
voting them out of politics, really calling them out consistently. We have to maintain the line because these are very loud, ideologically driven, nutbag, mentally ill people. And then they have a support base that they know is very challenged when it comes to rationale. It's all about being toxic and emotionally driven. And so that remember the loudest minority. I mean, Tina, you've been around, in this game for about as long, the blue-haired weirdos mobs on Twitter before Elon took over. Remember that loud, toxic minority of people that just made so much noise. The Bree bots, all of them. They make the most noise. We have to counter that noise. We have to be as loud and rational and logical and pointing these things out, and also being objective, because honestly, we can't become like them. So we've got to maintain rationale. We have to, and the ability to accept other opinions. All right, look, I understand digging for breadcrumbs. I watched Ahsoka. Okay, I understand lowering expectations. I actually liked some of the episodes from Ahsoka. I'll be honest with you.
Try watching The Acolyte, Stephen. It's cancerous.
I may. I don't. Tina, have you seen The Acolyte?
No, I have not. Although I'm still true to the Bad Take Bojan moniker, I did not watch Echo. I may at some point, and I did not watch Acolyte. I think I stopped after episode 3 of Andor. Even though it was good, I never watched the Rogue One movie, so these characters had no special.
Just pretend you watched it, say it's crap, and everyone will agree with you.
Listen, Tina, I'll tell you this: Rogue One is the only Star Wars like thing Disney put out. Honest to God. So if you, I would watch it if you do want anything relatively new that feels like Star Wars. I thought it was pretty good, and it would have been better had it not been another Kathleen Kennedy projection on screen. You know, it really, because that happens too much. But if you can put the blinders on for a minute and just enjoy the content for what it is, I think you would enjoy Rogue One. I did. I mean, it's the only one of the movies that I'll watch.
Put a chick in it and make her gay. I'll be as back
But
as
it
quick
wasn't
as I
gay.
can.
And it was, and they weren't, and Orlando wasn't banging animals or banging robots, none of it, none of that stuff. So,
well, thanks to the Acolyte, I've not just wrote one parody song, not 2 parody songs, but 4 Star Wars parody songs. One of which that I play on the fucking piano. It is a Don McLean cover called "The Day That Star Wars Died." All 10 minutes on the Ebonies and Ivories, bemoaning every Kennedy project per stanza.
do you want to close the show out with that? Because I promise you.
What are
It's
we
up
running
to you.
to? What are we running to?
Well, I was gonna go until Ryan had to leave for his next show.
Yeah,
yes,
we can close
that'll
it
be
out.
You can have the
in
stage.
an hour, ladies and gentlemen.
We can close it
All
out.
right, you can close it out because I want to make that a promise to you real quick. Ravenclaw, Tyler Mango, the mascot of this channel. Tyler says, if anyone could explain why everyone likes Fallout show, I hated that show. I haven't watched it, but Bad Take Tina Bojan's here. Have you watched Fallout?
Fallout, no.
I've seen it.
Yeah, I'm not
Okay.
a live action video game person.
Well,
so
then start, please. You have the floor,
All
sir.
right. The lore behind the Fallout show is a bit askew. Fans of the old school interactive play, like Interplay and Obsidian Fallout, are going to pick this thing apart like pigeons eating rice. All right. And then they're going to subsequently explode whenever that rice gets to where it needs to go for the money shot. As a standalone production, now this is my take on it. If you were to disconnect the Fallout TV series from the lore of the games and make it a standalone production that's not canonical, it would have been perfectly fine. The problem with it is Todd Howard wanted to make it canon, and he's like, it's all canon. All this is canon. Now, there's been allusions to Vault Tech being the one responsible for detonating the first bombs. But the fact that they made it in stone kind of ruins the mystery of who launched the nukes first. I always thought it was China launching the nukes first. And then there was that big theory about the aliens, causing the nuclear war just so that they could come in and take over the planet. But outside of a few things, it's like to quote Van Helsing, evil has made its mark on it. Evil's responsible for it, but it isn't inherently evil. There are wokeisms on it. The woke has its takes in it, has sprinkled throughout, but it is inherently not woke. I feel like the Vault Dweller Lucy is very much a believable character. She almost got murdered by raiders in episode 1. She had to, think outside the box. She busted this dude's head open with a glass pitcher. She wasn't karate chopping dudes 2 or 3 times her size. Throughout the entire ordeal, she was ignorant and hopeful and a product of a meritocracy and a very harsh and unforgiving wasteland. Maximus flakes out in everything he did. He is the flake character. He sees an opportunity to take the easy way out, and he's done it. And over time, he is slowly beginning to realize that maybe the Brotherhood isn't for him, or it is. We don't know. He's playing it by ear, and it's very believable for somebody who just watched his hometown go the way of the cities of old 200 years ago to going, okay, these guys have armor, these guys have guns, these guys have it all. So it is what it is. And so he's a flake, and it's kind of an unlikable character. His associate in the Brotherhood of Steel, the elephant in the room, the transsexual scribe.
From Transylvania?
Not from transsexual Transylvania. That place.
Okay.
No, don't eat the meat there. But
I sense a lead balloon.
To wrap it up in a nice, neat bow, yes, woke has its mark on it. Some wokeisms are in it, but it is inherently not woke. And if they had just kept it as its own standalone project and didn't connect it with the games, everything would have been hunky-dory with the show.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem.
Appreciate that,
my
Tony.
perspective, on this, Stephen, it's very simple.
Mm-hmm.
A great show in 2024 is a show that isn't shit.
Correct.
And that's the Fallout show.
Correct.
There we go.
All right. No, I was not a queen. All right.
He's a killer queen.
No, he's just a pagan man.
Yeah, I'm a pagan man. That's right. You know, I enjoy a little bit of, I lost where I was. Okay. There was a question I wanted to hold on. There's a question in the chat I did want to bring up because it was relative to what you were talking about earlier, Ryan.
Oh, sure.
Where is it? And you left when someone was insulting you, having a monarchy. Here we go. Aren't BBC licenses being rescinded or repealed?
I did mention this in the chat earlier on, but I will reiterate. For many years, the current Conservative government has said that they would get rid of the license fee or look into it. Of course, the BBC and their agents within the deep state civil service bureaucracy delayed them at every turn. We are likely to get a Labour supermajority, and I'm not just talking a small victory here, folks. I'm talking about a victory so big that there will be more government representatives in the opposition benches than the actual fucking opposition. It's going to be that big of a damn victory because the governing party, the Conservatives, have completely collapsed. They've had 14 years, 5 prime ministers, and it's basically a catalogue of shit. Labour supermajority, the license fee will be continued. I dare say it will be increased because the left will be emboldened and they will want to maximize their advantage and strengthen the license fee. I would, in their position, because then they can have more resources to brainwash more people, not just in the United Kingdom, but across the entire world. So no, it ain't going anywhere for quite a while.
Thank you, sir. So I do want to talk about the election, but we're going to move in very quick, and we'll look at this article, which was recommended. Concord developer responds to massive backlash over a game after it was revealed. It promoted pronoun nonsense and featured DEI character designs. So, why the hell is what is the pronoun nonsense? That's not over yet. That hasn't finished yet.
Well,
we haven't gotten rid of that yet.
This is very interesting, Stephen, because when it comes to wokeness as we know it currently, they can't make anything original. This is an exception to the rule. Concord as a game is something brand new. It is an Overwatch ripoff, so it's ripping off, like a genre of gaming, the Vive, can't speak. Vive, I can't speak, blooper, Joe Biden, and all that, but 5v5 multiplayer games, which ripping off from Overwatch. It's an entirely new intellectual property, and it comes built in with political correctness, social justice, and identity politics. And
you know what I heard through all that? You know what I heard through all that, Ryan?
Anyway, so but I must tell you, I don't have a near-term answer.
That's what I heard.
That's why I feel sorry for him. I'm experiencing that in my 20s. But in all seriousness, when it comes to this Concord game. And when most people think Concord, they think of the failure supersonic plane that would blow up sometimes. This is going to be even worse than that plane. This game is dead on arrival and will be living proof that these woke wankers can't make anything original. They can only bastardize franchises. And I think this game will be a confirmation of that, both for our side and for the progressive ponces themselves. And yes, they talk about the backlash and how it's racist and sexist and bigoted and homophobic and xenophobic. To be quite honest, ladies and gentlemen, this ain't 2014 anymore. We don't give a shit if you call us racist, sexist, homophobes, xenophobes, transphobes. In fact, we probably are, but we don't give a shit. We are the base element of reality-based. And we will bury you motherfuckers with our own projects as we highlight the problem, find the solution, and be the change we want to see. And we will bury you in the 21st century where you don't belong. Your time is done. You had your time in the 20th century. Now, thank you, fuck you, bye.
That is the...
The ranting ability of Ryan never ceases to
see. Look, these lovely people appreciate me. I've said this to death on Saturday Night Hypnosis, and people are like, "Oh, he's saying it again. He always repeats himself. You can't come up with anything original." No, I can't. But find new audiences, and people will think I'm a groundbreaking trailblazer.
Good man. So you say that this is original. This is an original game, but it's a play off of Overwatch. So it's basically just another. It's a game, the same type of game engine, or this with original characters and okay.
Even the robot has a gender pronoun.
No, it does not. Please tell me no, it does not. Oh Lord.
Covered this some time ago on Saturday Night Hypnosis.
Firewalk Studios seemed to confirm rumors that the company was shaking off the massive backlash for the game that the game received after it was revealed during a PlayStation State of Play presentation that the game is pushing pronoun nonsense and DEI characters. During the PlayStation State of Play, Firewalk Studios director IP Kim Kreens revealed a number of characters for the game, including one-off Fail, Linux, Emerai, and more. Each of the characters she shows off includes a character's name, their role, and then their preferred pronouns. Many of the characters are clearly made to adhere to woke DEI character designs, such as the character Ismar, who is an obese black woman. I mean, what about body positivity, guys?
Whoa.
I don't mind robot characters having gender pronouns because
you're
of the
a fucking Chicago liberal. No one gives a damn what you think.
Oh, honey, I was the only registered Republican in my entire precinct growing up. My grandfather was a former precinct captain, meaning that they were the guys that stood outside of a poll location prior to the election, handing out the list of here's the people you vote for because you silly, stupid Polish Catholics, you can't make up your own mind, so you're going to vote who we tell you to. Well, then myself and one other lady, actually, I'd like one other lady 3 or 4 blocks up the street from me. And when winter came, guess which were the only 2 blocks in the entire precinct that weren't snowplowed?
Get out.
Yeah, I mean, politics, big deal in Chicago as it always was. So, what I was saying about the robots. So I don't mind the gendered pronouns for robots because of the fact that, yes, of course, I'm a rhino. That's not true, actually. I'm more libertarian now. The older I get, the less that I, care about things. I was very much a hardcore.
They're everywhere. These libertarians are fucking everywhere, man.
You know what, though? Honestly, it's easier to be a libertarian because you honestly hate less people because you're like, you know what? I don't want the government in my business. I don't want my neighbor in my business. So let me be. So I honestly think that libertarians, at least in the Midwest where I live, but it sounds like, the East Coast is similar. And the fact that it's just the more chill people. The fact that we like, it's like, I don't care if you accept me or not, whereas the liberals are like, you must accept me. And I don't care if, if you hate me or not, whatever, it's totally fine. And I accept you because I don't care about you. You be you. And I think that's more what libertarian means in our area. Now, don't ask us about our political candidates because they're a bunch of wacko losers at the official official licensed libertarian party. But honestly, I mean, robots are in many cases, or in most cases in sci-fi, mimicking humans. So one would think for the robot to, if the robot can think, has AI, I think, well, I want to be closer to humans, so therefore that humans will accept and interact with me better by. Right.
Demon. I identify as a tranny demon. Beep, boop, beep, boop, beep, boop, boop.
I don't necessarily mean the tranny demon part, but I can see a robot
41%
going, okay.
failure rate.
Don't stand so close to me, Fry. People think we're robosexuals. If anybody asks, you're my debugger.
Another character is named Clarke, and it's undecided, Ryan. It's undecided about its pronouns.
So it has a memory fault. But this game is really dead on arrival, ladies and gentlemen. It's literally an example of what the opposition can do in regards to original content. You don't see it very often. That's why it piqued a lot of people's interest. No one is going to buy this. No one is going to support this apart from the ponces themselves. That's why this is a very intriguing topic, because there are very few examples of original woke content. Usually it's based off something that they parasite off of, like an AIDS vampire or something like that.
Well, what happens if the game what if the gameplay's good, right? So what if they create something that actually has a decent, a decent engine, and you have enough of the inner city, progressive ideologues who get into this, and it becomes popular. Like, well, what do you say then at that point, Ryan? Because so far we have watched woke movies, woke games, woke this and that, but not 9.99 times out of 10 they're bad. Like, nobody wants to support, nobody wants to see, nobody's going to go see it a second time, nobody's going to pick it up a second time. What happens if this is good?
Well, I think Overwatch 2 proved that this genre of gaming has had its time, because when it was released, it promised to take this format to the next level, and it did not, which led it going from being a fully paid game to being free to play to then being dead on arrival. This does not innovate in any way, shape, or form beyond the standard Overwatch model of 5 versus 5 multiplayer team gameplay. And if it does do well, then you guys better fucking get ready, because you'll see a lot worse than these projects. But the reason why I think this will not work is that even the thing that inspired the genre has not prevailed, and is not going to prevail into the future. We're certainly not going to see an Overwatch 3, folks. You can literally quote me on that.
No, I believe that.
So if the game that inspired the genre cannot succeed, how can something brand new that doesn't innovate in any way, that just injects diversity, equity, and inclusivity bollocks into its game, how is that going to work? It's just going to provoke a massive backlash. It's going to promote a lot of negative publicity. Don't touch this game with a barge pole, and that will be enough to ensure that it never does well.
I think it all comes down to gameplay, really. And I guess we'll see what happens when it's released. And what gets me is, like, this person who's like, PlayStation's new hero, a 5v5 PvP shooter. Concord is full of diverse character designs. And that used to mean something else, years ago. But now the word has been used so much that as soon as you hear diverse, you think,
Red
inclusivity.
flag.
You think red flag, right?
Well, I will say this, and it does, relate to what we said earlier about the evil empires of Disney and the BBC. And woke ideology generally, is that they're not financially based. They never have been. So if no one touched this, if no one bought this, they'd still make more of it because they're not financially based. They destroy one company, they'll just go to another company and do the same. Sweet Baby Inc. has made it clear in public at GDC conferences that the best way to deal with developers is to terrorize them into putting political correctness, social justice, and identity politics in games. And if those and if those games fail, and they do, Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League failed because they bought into that mindset. Do you know what Sweet Baby Inc. then does? They go to the next project and do the same. Kill it. Go to the next project. Do the same. Kill it. That's why Cabrutus's Sweet Baby Inc. detected forum on Steam was so crucial, because you could literally see all the games Sweet Baby Inc. worked with, and most, if not all of them, completely failed. But they're still around. They're still getting support. They're still going from project to project, ruining games. And when they were exposed, they were driven mad, which then kicked off Gamergate 2.0, kicked off Grums, who worked in the games industry for decades, highlighting the problem. Then with Smash JT, creating Kotaku Detected to do the same thing Cabrutus did, but with games journalists who have been fucking things up. Our opposition doesn't care about making money. No communist cares about making money. They care about taking things over, twisting them to suit their narrative, and as soon as their usefulness ends, they chuck it in the trash and move on. You could not watch a single episode of Star Wars till the day you die. Guess what? Disney's still going to make Star Wars projects because they're not doing it to make money. They're doing it to prove a point.
Now,
and they
who do you
want to
think
kill
they'll-
it. They want to kill it in front of you. And the best reaction you can give them is nothing, because then it robs you of what you care about. And if you don't care about Star Wars, well, you don't care about your community, we'll kill that too. Don't care about your nation, we'll kill that too. Don't care about your people, we'll kill that too. It all just snowballs until you don't have a fucking civilization left. Right down to your own fucking house. Don't care about your house, well, we'll just fucking destroy it. I mean, BLM and Antifa are living proof of that. When you don't feed into them, it's like politics. You ignore politics, politics doesn't ignore you. And one day they'll knock on your door. Doesn't matter how many of them you shoot dead. They're everywhere.
Now, based on your premise, though, Ryan, do you then believe that there are George Soros type billionaires that are funding Disney and these other companies that you classify as non-financially
I only
motivated?
classified two companies as not financially based: Disney and the BBC. BBC because they're protected by the government with a license fee that will never go away. It's never gone away in my lifetime. It's only gone up in terms of price. And with Disney, they're worth $250 billion. They ain't going away by the end of the century, even if they lose billions a year until the end of the century.
Really?
Now, as for other projects, as for other organizations, they do rely on funding. But if that funding comes from an extremely strong source, whether it's Vanguard or BlackRock or through the Bridge initiatives, through state fucking handouts, through diversity systems and inclusivity systems and that sort of thing, they do get funding, but they get funding from parasitic means. Feeding off the taxpayer for the most part. It all boils down to the taxpayer eventually. And unfortunately, there is no stronger force on planet Earth than the state. And if they're desperate enough, they'll press that red button, just like Fallout, and end the world. Just so you don't get it, you lovely libertarian lady.
So you then would prescribe to the idea that Florida, being a conservatively Republican-run state, will have absolutely no impact. That their fight
does have some impact. It does have some impact. Of course, it has impact. But this is a global struggle, not just in the West. They're spreading into Japan. They're spreading into Korea, South Korea. They're spreading into Taiwan and parts of the second and third world. This idea of political correctness, social justice, and identity politics, it goes back decades, which is why I support the idea that the Cold War never ended. Our opposition went to ground, and they've been infesting civilization ever since. Concord is an example as a game of something original that they've made, which is one of the few times I've actually praised these types of people. Why? Because they don't usually make something original, because it fails. And I think it will fail. That's why they latch onto things, because it gives them the life they need to corrupt our society. And that's just in pop culture, never mind in the political realm.
Okay, I can see that. Absolutely.
Thank you, Ryan.
That's
Thank
why
you,
it's
sir.
so important to highlight the problem, which is them, find the solution, which is to oppose them, obviously, and then be the change you want to see. Create your own projects. Or if you're not a creative person, support those who are creative,
Yes,
whether it's with money
absolutely.
or with publicity. We've seen many, many different attempts at that. Some small scale that lots of people support publicly, but maybe not financially. And we have seen a few organizations and groups that have made multi-million-dollar initiatives that have been supported and despised in equal measure. There is no one size fits all solution. Otherwise, we would have done it by now. Hence the greatest weakness of content creators. Likewise with libertarians, which is why I always have my head in my hands when they're mentioned. They don't have the unity or the organization to oppose a force that could easily end them by pressing, for lack of a better term, a big red button.
You know what? I can absolutely agree with you that I think when I label myself as a libertarian, I look at it more in my attitude toward my community and others, and not necessarily my political affiliation. Because I do tend to vote for Republican candidates because they more closely follow my my political and most importantly my financial views. But as far as my social views are concerned, you be you, boo. I don't care.
I mean, that's one of the reasons why I'm not a conservative, because from a British perspective, why be a conservative? The conservatives have conserved fuck all, except their bank accounts. They're economic conservatives. They're certainly not social conservatives, but that's a topic for a reality-based politics show. It's been a
We're
while
actually going to
since
get
we've
into
done one of those.
We're going to get into politics in a moment. And anybody in the chat watching either channel, if you could, family member had to pay a lot of medical bills, and I'm trying to raise up some money. The family came together and did as much as we could, trying to get up around 500 if you guys could. I will pass that money right on to them. And I greatly appreciate you talking about support and also the importance of supporting independent creators, as Raj was bringing up. Guys, please check out wonderful people out there like Red Gaze, Nerium Nova, and others who are out there making content that for you that is not driven by ideology and is not meant to segregate, separate, isn't meant to cudgel you over the head with some crazy ideals. And that goes for any independent creator that you find to your liking. Doesn't matter who likes who, it matters what you like. So if you enjoy their content, if they're making a channel, a comic, a book, whatever it is, please support them. Share out a link to their materials. We rise together in this aspect. And in a world where our modern myths, our comics, and all these things are being used to espouse crazy political ideologies, to divide us, to make us feel lesser than, to separate us, there's nothing greater than supporting an indie creator who does not have an entire, who does not have an industry to help promote them. It really comes down to us helping each other out. So please, just today, if you would, just today, doesn't matter who it is, don't matter who likes who, don't care what lunch table they sit at. If you enjoy them and their content, please share out a link for their channel, for their content, for their books, and help be the difference. I greatly appreciate that. We all get support out here from all over the indie sphere. And why can't I share that? And we get supported out. No, we don't. We do not get supported on the indie sphere. Fuck the indie sphere. Fuck independent creators. And do not support Parrot Head. God damn it, Parrot Head. You asshole. That's it. I'm glad Stark's laughing. Fucking Ryan. You just put Ryan in the shot.
Now
He
that's
went
what I
quiet.
call a pagan man.
That's not that. No, that's not doing paganism. That's not pagan. Oh shit. Listen. Thank you very much, Parrothead. I love y'all. We are going to get into. If I can find it. The debates that anybody watch the debates, the presidential U.S. presidential debates?
The replay, yeah.
That was a debate.
Yeah.
I watched Brahmable and Little Chad's. They had Carrie Smith on, and they listened to the debate in the background and then paused to make their comments. And it was far more entertaining than just watching the debate on its own. It's quite.
Yeah, I came close to watching that when I saw a bunch of people streaming, and Scott Clarke and I were going to do it, but CNN had threatened to strike anybody who covered those debates. So we said no, and then ended up everybody was doing it. So I should have done it anyway. But hey, I saw 32 Flavors. Nick Weiser out there, a lot of good people, a lot of good channels.
That's the courageous aspect. In order to prevail, folks, you got to be sick. Got to be strong, intelligent, and courageous.
Mm-hmm.
And
Strong
K is Klansman. So strong, intelligent, courageous Klansman. Sick.
So you know what? We're gonna go through a couple clips of this and see. Well, just to refresh our memory. Look, you're laughing, Stark. You ready?
That screenshot, though, that pause frame.
Yeah. Yeah.
It describes the whole debate.
How so?
You got
How's
somebody who
explain
looks
that?
like he just shit his britches, and you got the other person going, "Why the fuck am I here?"
He doesn't even know. All right.
Remember, more people died under his administration, even though we had largely fixed it. More people died under his administration than our administration, and we were right in the middle of it, something which a lot of people don't like to talk about. But he had far more people dying in his administration. He did the mandate, which is a disaster, mandating it. The vaccine went out. He did a mandate on the vaccine, which is the thing that people most objected to about the vaccine. And he did a very poor job, just a very poor job. And I will tell you, not only poor there, but throughout the entire world, we're no longer respected as a country. They don't respect our leadership. They don't respect the United States anymore. We're like a third world nation between weaponization of his election, trying to go after his political opponent, all of the things he's done. We've become like a third world nation, and it's a shame. The damage he's done to our country. And I'd love to ask him, and will, why he allowed millions of people to come in here from prisons, jails, and mental institutions to come into our country and destroy our country.
Oh, my lordy. A couple things to break down there. When it comes to the... Oh, go ahead.
I said haymakers. He's throwing haymakers.
Yes, absolutely he was.
Trying to throw him off balance is a great way to make your case, is to highlight the problem with what the sitting president has done, the mistakes he's made, to try and get him off balance, and push Joe Biden into a state of decay and confusion, which is exactly what he did.
Mm-hmm. I mean, this debate format was perfect for President Trump.
Yeah.
I mean, I believe that the facilitators hoped that by having the ability to cut off his microphone, having the quick timed responses as they were going to frustrate him. And that he was going to go off or maybe lose his temper in response to each question. But what they did is prevent his rambling, prevent him from getting off topic, because he had just said, okay, fine, I have a general idea of what the topics are. I'm going to have my canned 120-second response, and boom, move on. And I'm sure he had some pre-memorized zingers to toss Biden's way, similar to the "I don't know what he said, I don't think he knows what he said" response.
To me, Stephen, this was a setup, the demon rat disaster, because who organized this debate? Biden.
Well, CNN.
Who facilitated this debate? CNN, with the approval of Biden. And
supposedly Biden had
team.
The questions for 2 weeks prior to the debate.
The fact that there's no audience, that was because of Biden and his team.
Which
I mean, the fact that this wasn't even live, it was on a 1 to 2 minute delay because of Biden and his team. Everything was set up to support him, and it completely backfired.
But it made it better for Trump.
It did. It absolutely did. Tina, you were bringing up how, you know, like his reaction. First off, like, and again, taking away the audience, it didn't play into his ego. It didn't play, you know, into his stage persona, for instance. If you remember back on the original debates in 2016, it was a show. It was a carnival, you know, like he was going off. But what Trump has done since the coup, which was made to destabilize the country and make the election more pliable for people who would want to change it, was that he understood the ground. He understood his enemies, how he was played, how he was looked at. He understood how the media cast him in a certain light. He understood his weaknesses. So I think you're absolutely right, Tina, in your assessment that this actually made Trump, this was made for Trump as much as they were trying to make it for Joe Biden. They were hoping that Joe Biden would be able to take advantage as a lifelong politician, be able to take care, be able to operate within this dynamic, because it is more traditional in as far as politics. I don't think that they expected Trump to have spent this time learning and acclimating and becoming a better speaker. So I think your assessment was right on the money, Tina. But taking away the audience, that was, again, sauce for the goose. It was giving more power to Trump's ability to focus and stay on target, and also expose Joe Biden for his mental deficiency.
Hence why I said it was a setup. This debate was set up not as a trap for Trump. It was set as a trap for Biden, facilitated by demon rats in his own party who want him gone. This was not set up.
Do you think that
This is why the debate was. Yeah, this is why the debate was scheduled so early, because there is still time for the Democratic Party to turn around and say, I don't care who you put up there, we're not backing this guy. And actually, I shared an article. I don't know if you got a chance to see it, Stephen.
Yeah.
In our chats that Fox News put out about the fact that within 10 minutes of the debate starting, not ending, starting, that huge funders from Hollywood contacted the Democratic Party and said, we're not backing this guy. The money stops now until you find another candidate.
Where did you put that in the chat, Tina? Which one?
I will have to remember.
Well, of course, the biggest problem is that they can't use the normal process to nominate a candidate. There simply isn't enough time. Despite blooper brain Biden, he has the experience of the last 50 years, and unfortunately, no one in the Demon Rat Party can fill in his massive boots, not just as leader, but also as president. So they're trapped, from my perspective.
I mean, are they, though? Hold on. Give me a moment.
They aren't quite trapped yet, because during the Democratic National Convention, they can back. There's a couple of little rules that they can follow to back a different candidate. They do not have to nominate Biden. That's the wonderful thing about a representative republic, is because of the fact that we do not have to. Our electoral college voters do not have to support whoever was the majority in their state. It's beautiful. So it lets everybody say, hey, this is who the majority voted for, so now you need to go to the convention and back this candidate. Those in the electoral college can back whoever the hell they want. They do not have to vote for their state. There are some states where it's written into their constitution that their electoral representatives have to vote for whatever the popular vote was, but then others can move the other way. And there's still enough time, I believe, on each of the 50 states to add another candidate to the ballot. It's not too much longer. There's a very, very small window. And once again, which is why I think the debate was held this early.
Well, from what we've seen, the reaction from the Biden team is very simple. They're going to have another one. They're going to have another debate between the two. They've doubled down.
Really?
They should double down. That's what these people do, though. They don't live in the real world. They have to double down, triple down, and I think it's going to be beneficial for Trump supporters, for Trump's campaign, for them to do that.
It's just the idea, though, 4 or 5 months away from a general or union general election for the entire United States, except for the territory regions that don't get a say. But for the vast majority of the United States, to have a party say 4 to 5 months away from a national election, no, you're not going to, we can't have the sitting president stand. We got to have the vice president or some upstart that came from fucking nowhere at this point. No,
it was desperation. It was desperation to get Joe Biden in there in the first place, right? I mean, that was complete desperation because Trump's, whatever you think of them, guys. I mean, honestly, put down your fee-fees for a minute and think about how much your bills were during his administration. How much were you making? How much were taxes? How much he was actually making countries pay their fair share when they were exporting. We weren't paying countries, you know what I mean? So we weren't wasting tax dollars in that way. Fiscally, he ran the corporation of the United States like a corporation. He was not a bad president.
Oh, with record employment and record growth that had not been seen in the U.S. in the 21st century. But unfortunately, that was spurred on by deficit spending, which live on borrowed time with that, of which we have less and less. But if it spurs economic growth, social peace, and economic prosperity, you can get away with deficit spending as long as the economy is growing. You can't when it's stagnating, and the coronavirus crisis was the perfect way to stop that and sabotage Trump's presidency. But personally, I think they'll have to stick with him, take the loss, unless they completely rig it. I mean, I jacked up that statement on Dragon Slayer's Tangent King podcast when we talked about this situation. Come November, every grave will rise and vote for Joe Biden and he will be reelected. Because if they can rig a fucking election once and get away with it, they'll do it again, even worse.
But
Go ahead, Tina.
I'm so sorry. I would just say that that Mr. Bowden read that there are some that feel that they will replace Biden with either Michelle Obama or Hillary Clinton. They would especially do the Hillary Clinton because it was going to be the payback for 2016, which is scary because if they rig an election for either one of those women, I think it would almost be worse than Biden.
I agree, and I mean, the ability to rig an election, it's been happening for a very, very long time. I remember when Jane was on the team, and she would talk about, she was very involved in her local politics in her home state, and she said it happens all the time. She's like, election rigging happens all the time. Shout out to Jane Theory, guys. We miss you. So
she retired.
She did. But we miss her. But she opened my eyes to that. This is before the 2016, it was after the 2016 election. But can they do that on the scale that they did without a pandemic, without the blanketing everyone, keeping them in their homes, keeping them dependent on the state, making them worry constantly, forcing all these mandates.
If you have the will, Stephen, if the current demon rat establishment had the will, they'd send troops openly in Ukraine, declare a national emergency, and declare war on the Russian Federation to stop an election.
Yeah.
It's remarkably simple and straightforward to do. I mean, you have North Korean troops on the ground in the conflict zone. So Russia and its allies are involved in the conflict. Of course, Ukraine gets a lot of equipment from the West and a lot of donations. What's to stop the United States administration under a Biden presidency to say, fuck it, we need to delay the election, let's go to war with Russia? and
I
deploy troops.
I 100% agree with
That's the
that
scariest.
possibility.
Yeah, scary.
Let's risk an all-out nuclear war to protect ourselves from an orange man.
The other theory is that they're going to, since the sentencing hasn't occurred yet on the felony convictions, that they will actually imprison Donald Trump, where they could have an accident happen, and then we would have to come up with another Republican candidate. Which honestly, I think if they were foolish enough to enact any of that, that's where civil war. I mean, I'm not a member of a southern state, but I guarantee you there are enough people here that are not going to react too well if our former president has an accident before the election.
Right.
Just to clarify, if ever the nuclear button is hit, folks, that's it. World ends. No one surviving. No one. Just to let you all know. Hello, Drunk 3PO. I hope you're doing well, my good man. Best of luck on your comic projects through Ripper Send. Hopefully it all goes well.
Supported by the creators, Mackley Jaws, another artist out there. What's up, Mac?
Great artist.
Rogue alumni. What's going on, brother?
I tried to introduce a fellow creator to Mark Kinney, and they thought that Mark Kinney was a black female. No, that's just the avatar. He is a black male who draws attractive This is the damn problem with trying to bring people together. Sometimes folks look at others strictly at face value, folks. But we are 30 seconds away to midnight on that scale. On that scale, or is it 15? One of those. Wait, that's a song. Towards the end of, the world in regards to nuclear Armageddon. Know that a senile old bastard who can barely think could easily send the entire world into Armageddon. Oh, look, another person who doesn't believe nuclear weapons exist. Oh, for God's sake. The Russians still have tactical nuclear weapons. The Americans gave them up decades ago, mainly because if they ever used them, it would kick off a world-ending response. The Russians still use them because the Russians are stuck in the wrong century. They're using equipment older than Stephen and me combined.
But our biggest problem, though, in fighting a largely deficient army in Russia is the fact that all of our absolutely wonderfully advanced technology is currently left in Afghanistan, currently being used in Israel.
In all honesty, though, Tina, if you can't beat a bunch of towel heads in the mountains of Afghanistan, how the fuck are you going to defeat the second world's strongest military in the Russian Federation, who will easily sacrifice 100,000 people in a battle?
You can't. Absolutely.
Exactly. Which is probably why we haven't gone in there already. Russia ain't no fucking Iraq. I'm telling you that right now. But I personally think, unless it's egregiously rigged, we will get a Trump presidency. We will get, if we do get a Trump presidency, that is, the funding to Ukraine will most likely be reduced, if not completely canceled. Then hopefully there can be peace talks that settle along the existing battle line borders between the two countries. And then from that, there can be a peaceful resolution between Israel and Hamas and Gaza. And we can finally have some fucking peace instead of demon rat warfare.
And I absolutely believe that could happen with the second Trump presidency, because think of how well we were making way in the Middle East during his first administration.
Yep. Yes.
His son-in-law, whose name, of course, I forget because I'm senile and old.
Ashton Kutcher, the massive nose who sucks up money. I mean, Hunter Biden sucks up cocaine, and Ashton Kutcher, or whatever the fuck his name is, sucks up money through his gigantic nose and his tiny hat.
Tina, let's
yes, sir.
look at this article that you wanted us to look at. So, do you want to read it, or would you like me to read it?
I can read it if you'd like. It's once
A
again,
woman
obviously,
reading.
I know it's really scary,
I
but
know.
the one thing to keep in mind, obviously, is Fox News is Fox News. It's not the old conservative-run institution that it was, 20 years
Ooh,
ago. So you
yeah.
need to, take that with a grain of salt. And then also, this could be fake, but supposedly, right after the debate started, this story hit the news. High-profile Hollywood donors say they will not be giving any more money to the Democratic Party if President Biden doesn't end his re-election bid, Variety reported. The Friday story cited several Hollywood insiders who noted that following Biden's debate performance on Tuesday, major liberal donors have become disillusioned with the former president and want someone else at the top of the ticket. It's really just hard to see how we keep supporting him. He needs to dig deep about whether he can, in good conscience, be our nominee. Hannah Lincoln Hawker, an advisor to several of these donors, told the outlet.
Really?
The Hollywood honchos reportedly flipped on Biden reflects the general shift in Democratic Party supporters and even liberal pundits that occurred following Biden's highly criticized debate performance against former President Trump on Thursday. The debate sparked panic among Democratic strategists and commentators, some of whom are now calling for Biden to be replaced as the Democratic presidential nominee. As anonymous Hollywood donor told the entertainment outlet, that's the part that I worry about, the anonymous here and the anonymous that his network, many people are declaring that they will be withholding donations until Biden is moved aside. So, what do you think?
I think it's possible. I had heard on Twitter or someone that might have been on the news talking about. No, as a matter of fact, it was the roundtable after. The CNN. It was some CNN roundtable. They were talking about like they need to get rid of Joe Biden, and that if they were going to replace him, that they needed to do it now, because there was no way that they were going to be able to run with this guy, especially after seeing how he acted in the debates. I mean, he trailed off quite a few times. He trailed off and went like from one subject to another. A couple times didn't even understand the phrase he was using.
Several times,
right?
I mean, the most famous example, as we all know, is we finally beat Medicare. I mean, for a British perspective, that's like saying a prime minister saying quite simply, we beat the NHS, which is really lauded in our part of the world because, state healthcare is the bestest ever, even as we're dying on a waiting list. But the point is, he's completely cooked. He's absolutely batshit crazy, but I don't see how they get rid of him, put in a new candidate, and go on this campaign tour, because then you're going to have this new guy or gal going up against a man who has been president and who has that experience. He's learned from the errors of his past administration, and he's going to make it clear that the demon rats have completely failed in their duty of government. And he'll use, the example of a last-minute leadership change to bolster that perspective. So I don't see, without them rigging it completely, how the demon rats can prevail in this. And that'll have to be my conclusion, because I have to hop over to another show. I might as well send you guys the link to it in case you're all interested before I hop off.
Yes, I know you have to leave, so I'm going to let you do your outro. Tony's going to do the song I promised I'd let him do last week now, after you leave. And then Scott Clarke is going to be joining us for about 20 minutes. 20 minutes after that, we're going to run a little late, Tina, Scott, and I, to continue talking about the election. My brother, do your outro.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, here's the link to the show I will be on. I'll write down the timestamp for a conclusion at 1 hour, 49 minutes, and 30 seconds. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all very much for watching this episode of Rogue Entertainment. Hopefully the reality-based rescue package will save this great historic show that was there right from the very beginning of the Fandom Menace, or at least on the tail end of it, one of those. The history is a bit sketchy. But you can check me out at Ryan Roger Athay. I am the host and founder of Reality Based. I am a mix of the author Stephen Walton and an evil version of Culture Casino. I'm half his age, but he looks younger than I do. Go check me out on Saturday Night Hypnosis. Ida will be the special guest. Hypno is a great talent, and I'm sure you will all enjoy that show. But don't worry, we'll be well into the topics by the time this great show ends. Rogue Entertainment, and hopefully you can see a mix of reality-based and Rogue Entertainment in the days, weeks, and months to come. So until next time, ladies and gentlemen, and no other genders, binaries, tranny demons, full-blown AIDS demons, they, them pronoun demons, slanderous slags, ching-chang chos, and folks with an IQ of under 85. That includes you, Atreus, and all blanks. Bye for now, folks.
Later, brother. Thank you so much for. Oh, wait. Let me thank you so much. And we're gonna. Tony, are you ready to do your song?
Yeah, Bessie is fired up. This is a parody song that I write. I'm going to go ahead and do my outro first before playing.
All right.
I run a show called The After Party, starts Saturday matinee. Its purpose is to keep the fun elements of Friday Night Frolics going throughout the entire night with more songs, more skits, more guest characters, more comedy, more fun, as we kick it into woke culture's ball sack repeatedly until we all pass out. So if you would like to share my link, that would be phenomenal. And without further ado, if you guys will mute up, I do have to turn off echo cancellation because I'm broke. And I have I got to swivel my microphone over here. So here we go. It goes a little bit like this. 'Twas not so long ago, we all still remember how Star Wars used to make us smile. We're flying down the Death Star trench and watching Luke and Leia French and Bubba fed the Sarlacc for a while. Lucasfilm was sold for billions to the chagrin of multi-millions. Disney on the payroll, R.I.P. in the woke fold. I can remember how it died when Kennedy got deep inside. Our asses, that bitch, she did ride. The day that Star Wars had died. So my, look at how Star Wars died. Those creators did not savor a slice of the shit pie. And Kennedy had that mad fire in her eye, saying, I will ruin all the Jedi. I will ruin all the Jedi. Did you see the Book of Fett and how we all had learned to regret how he looked without the mask? And how he floated in Bacta with pacing slow, just like a tractor. You could tell that the show was rushed real fast. Well, I hope that they had realized this isn't how you sell merchandise. You best damn well believe how Boba Fett fans had grieved. He was a bounty hunting, blasting ace with a kick-ass suit and inhuman grace. But that white guy was put in place the day Star Wars had died. We started singing, my, look at how Star Wars died. Those creators did not savor a slice of the shit pie. And Kennedy had that mad fire in her eyes, saying, I will ruin all the Jedi. I will ruin all the Jedi. Now Obi-Wan was the wise old man who helped young Annie get over sand and taught Luke how to use the Force. Just then Reva screamed like a drama queen. In a fit she pilfered the TV screen with a voice that was cringe to both you and me. Oh, and while Kenobi was knocked down, Darth Vader swished him all around. He got him burnt real good. Turn that Jedi into firewood. And then Leia gave Ben some sage advice. His canon mission was sacrificed. Luke was the charge, am I right? Oh wait, Star Wars had died. We started singing, my, look at how Star Wars died. Those creators did not savor a slice of the shit pie. And Kennedy had that mad fire in her eyes, saying, I will ruin all the Jedi. I will ruin all the Jedi. And Endor clamored for desired riders. The spy games were slowly transpired. Plot holes too many to outlast. The penny dropped an episode too late for folks to care about this bland take. We already know the Death Star's final fate. 'Cause Rogue One dropped, it was okay. They did not make everyone gay. They had more shows for that. Just shoving way more woke crap, like how they edited The Bad Batch or the sequel trilogy they made us catch. Shove it up Rey Skywalker's snatch the day Star Wars had died. We started singing, my, look at how Star Wars died. Those creators did not savor a slice of the shit pie. And Kennedy had that mad fire in her eye, saying, I will ruin all the Jedi. I will ruin all the Jedi. Fucking bitch, right? Oh, and let's all mourn for Mandalore, a legend from the tales of yore. One Jon Favreau had tried to save. So come on, baby Yoda, Grogu slick. Mando had a job to get done quick. 2 seasons were out, and it was kinda great. But then we all saw season 3. Was that Thrawn with the beer belly? I can't believe this shit. Once again we got duped, and despite that one cool jetpack ride, Grogu took up all of the spotlight. I saw Kathleen laughing with delight because Star Wars had died. We started singing, so my, look at how Star Wars died. Those creators did not savor a slice of the shit pie. And Kennedy had that mad fire in her eyes, saying, I will ruin all the Jedi. I will ruin all the Jedi. We all stopped falling for the ruse, and we started to sing the blues. Disney had ushered the fans away. And now when I go down to the store where I bought Kenner figures before, I see price cuts on toys they can't give away. Our community is in a fuss. Curse the mouse and his Disney Plus. The old fans here have spoken. The universe is broken, with more hires from the DI. Writers here to script more lies. We all hang our heads and cry because Star Wars had died. We started singing, my, look at how Star Wars died. Those creators did not savor a slice of the shit pie. And Kennedy had that mad fire in her eye, saying, I will ruin all the Jedi. I will ruin all the Jedi. And she was singing, my, woke Star Wars is my pride. My creators, they will savor a slice of my shit pie. Time to go forth and make the end's finger bright with the release of the Acolyte. Applause, please.
Yeah. Star. That was so good, bro.
You can find all of that and more during the matinee shows after Friday Night Frolics, and sometime in Saturday afternoon. We do our own skits, our own guest characters. We keep the party going. We don't step on anybody else's feet. And we're here for you. Lucasfilm has creators that they've fooled me, says Chaos Hoy in the chat.
Stark, before you head out, brother, I just wanted to introduce you to another member of the Rogue team. He's from Rogue Dragonstorm. Yeah, this is, guys, if you guys don't know, this is my friend, Scott Clarke. What is up, brother?
I got a bad feeling about this. You're all clear, kid. Now let's blow this thing and go home.
Yeah, man. Good to see you, dude. Yeah, these are rogues from author Stephen Walton. So there you go. This is part of the family, brother.
I loved this song. That was amazing.
Thank you.
It was like, what was that, 10 minutes? That was amazing. How do you do that?
That was the entire, very, very hard, because now my forearms are burning like the Dickens.
So you were playing that. You were playing that.
Yes.
Wow. I was getting ready to, turn on my computer stuff. I was Bluetoothing it to my box right here, and I was just like walking around the house with this, like, you were rocking it.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, that was great.
Thank you, brother.
That was a glorious performance, Stark.
Thank you. I remember whenever I just to bring this back around, I started on a phone way back when, and I recently opened up about playing on the piano because the way I was instructed was very, let's just say, Catholic, and I have scars on my knuckles. There's been many nights where I was spent cleaning the keys more than I was playing them. And
wow, we should compare scars. I too had 10 years of musical instruction on the piano by a Catholic nun. So
oh God, it's the worst, Sister Barton.
For me, it was Sister Immaculate. Could you get a more amazing name than that? So
Immaculate. That's.
But I'm a voice guy. I'm a sound effects guy. I'm a comedian, and I would love if you guys would hang out with me. My broadcasting hours are quite late, but because I provide a very Dr. Demento-esque show, you can just stick the tape in and hit play, and you'll get most of the quality of the show, whether you catch it live or not. With that stated, I'm going to go and hustle a couple of poker tables and make some money. So,
all right, man. Tell them where they can find you, my brother. Oh, you already did.
Yeah, I did my plug first because I was, I'm now busy rolling my wrists. So,
All right.
thank you guys again so much, and I'll see you guys next Saturday, most likely.
All right. I'll see you next Saturday, Tony.
All right.
Take care, brother.
Take care.
So, hey, Scotty, how are you, bud?
I'm well, sir. How are you? Good to see you guys.
I'm doing. Yeah, good to see you too, buddy. We were just talking about the debates. Did you get a chance to see the debates on whatever it was 2 days ago, Wednesday?
I watched it
Thursday?
live. I watched it live. But let me first just say hello, Tina. I haven't been introduced.
Hello,
I'm sorry.
Scott. It is wonderful, wonderful to meet you. I've caught a couple of your live streams, but as I am famous to doing Ambien before bed, I don't remember much of them, but I do remember your face. So sorry.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, Tina's a great friend. She was in the chat for years and started doing shows and panels, and now is doing her own shit, making her own channel and doing her own videos. Wonderful supporter in friend in the chat. So Tina's helped carry me quite a few times, Scott.
Oh,
She's been my crutch.
Right on. Right on. As for the debates, yes, I watched it live. Watched the whole thing. It was on Amazon Prime. They just let us have it for free, and I just put it on my TV and just watched. And then I also noticed, we were talking about doing covering it on YouTube.
We should have done it.
And then there was the big warning. And then everybody, I was going between Tim Pool and Steven Crowder and listening to, but there was a delay, so I couldn't watch the TV and my phone at the same time. It was confusing. So I just kind of watched it dry on TV and it just listened to what was going on. And Trump mopped the floor with Biden. Biden just couldn't hang. And like you guys I was listening to the show earlier. It was a complete setup against Trump, but Trump, he, decided to go along with it, even though they were going to cut off the microphone when you're not speaking and no audience, which is Trump's thing because he has the audience. He has, huge rallies and stuff. Biden, nobody shows up. Nobody cares. So they set the whole thing up against Trump. And Biden just couldn't hang anyway. He just couldn't hang. And so immediately I sent you a couple of screenshots, or I took pictures of my TV and with the little ticker at the bottom of the CNN panel. Immediately they just started throwing him under the bus, and that told me, okay, Biden is not going to be here in November, and people have been talking about this for a while. There's been Michelle Obama is a possible candidate. Hillary, of course, she still thinks it's her turn. It's my turn. And then there's Newsom from California is they're pretending like he's gonna, or maybe not pretending, maybe they're grooming him for the
position. You think they really bring Gavin Newsom into the election? Do you think
desperate.
That's possible?
They'll do anything. And plus, this is the same type of guy that they would want. The good-looking snake oil salesman. That's just what the Dems do.
Yeah. And he comes from the liberal Mecca of California, so he'll have all the Hollywood donors on his side.
He's Pelosi's what?
Nephew or something like that.
Yeah. They
I didn't know that.
They come from the same cloth. Yeah, it's all bloodlines. As we've talked about this, it's all bloodlines with these people. It's all bloodlines. The Illuminati.
What Tina was mentioning earlier that like you said, it was all they tried to set it up for Biden, and Trump ended up shining in her analysis of it. What did you think? Did you think the same? That's them trying to limit his speech, limit how much he mute the mics and so forth. Do you think that worked in his favor?
Yeah, that rule, what it did was it kept him. They cut him off numerous times. Biden, when he started going off, like he started getting confused, and they would cut him off really fast. Whereas if you look back in 2016, they were constantly cutting off Trump and letting or 2020, they were cutting off Trump and letting Biden have the floor. But this one, they were cutting off Biden okay, and then they would ask the next question, and Biden would be couldn't even finish his thought. But he didn't really have a thought to finish. And it was just so obvious that they were just trying to it was crazy because you think that they wanted to give him the floor to just have the last word, and they literally were cutting him off so that he could, so that they could just move the show forward. And that was just it was clear that they were not supporting Biden the way that they had in the past. They were controlling the situation and limiting him. Yeah.
Do you think that there is even a chance that they would have that? Could they replace this far into the election cycle? I mean,
yeah.
What do you guys think? Really?
Yeah. They don't have a choice. I mean, why is the system throwing Biden under the bus right now? Is that helping his chances of winning re-election? No. So what's the plan? The plan is to get rid of him with the 25th Amendment and install somebody else. That's the plan. Otherwise, they would have done what they've always done. Biden is awful, and they still lift him up. Like on The View, those ladies, they're always going, Biden's great, blah, 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 blah. That no matter how awful he is, they're always lifting him up. They have been in the past. They always just lift him up. But now they just changed it. And they said, yeah, this isn't looking good for our party. Why would they do that? Because they lift him up no matter how bad he is for years.
Oh, absolutely.
There's something else coming. It's control. Control. They're narcissists. They're controlling the narrative. So you got to, you can see what's coming by what they do.
All right. Well, let's play a little bit more of this, and I just set something else up. So we'll listen to these. We'll listen to Joe for a minute. See how he did.
I want to give you an opportunity to respond to this question about the national debt.
He had the largest national debt of any president in a 4-year period, number one. Number two, that $2 trillion tax cut benefited the very wealthy. All I'm going to do is fix the tax system. For example, we have 1,000 trillionaires in America. I mean, billionaires in America. And what's happening? They're in a situation where they, in fact, pay 8.2% in taxes.
We don't see anything. It's not on the screen.
25%.
If you think
it's not on the screen?
No. I'm singing.
You know what? It's only on the screen in. It's only on the screen in Author Stephen Walton, not in Ladonna's. So.
Okay. Yeah, it's not in StreamYard, which is what I'm looking at, so that
it's not in StreamYard. All right, let me make sure. Let me look.
Oh, it was in StreamYard
until
just a moment ago. Now
do you see it now?
I don't see
Scott,
it in
you got it?
I don't see it in StreamYard.
Really?
Maybe I'll go to YouTube. Is it on YouTube?
No, I mean, well, you shouldn't have to. You should be able to see it through StreamYard.
I figure what's on StreamYard is what's being broadcast.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that didn't work out. All right. Hold on. Let me try and bring it down one more time and add it one more time. Screen share. Let me know if you see this, Scott. You see it? You see it?
No, I guess I'll try to find it on YouTube.
No, there's no sense in doing that. That's funny. I've never seen that before.
That is really weird.
That is really weird. Yeah, I've never had that happen before on a StreamYard. Let's see.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I do see it in Dragonstorm, but I don't see it in Author Stephen Walton. Oh, now I do. Now I do see it on Stephen Walton. Maybe there's a delay.
Oh, yeah, there's a 1 minute delay behind, but you should be able to see it in StreamYards. That's odd. All right. Well, we're gonna have to work on that. Well, I can't bring up CJ's thing either. Then, if you can't see it.
Well, maybe try one more time. Because
right.
If Scott can see him now in StreamYard, then maybe it'll.
Let me see.
It's not on StreamYard, but on YouTube, it's right there on Author Stephen Walton. I don't get it.
You don't see it at all on StreamYard. You don't see it's on the side of the thing with the side.
No, so I'll have to watch it with a delay.
No, that's insane. We're never going to get that done right. Yeah. All right. Well, let's go to the chat. Then let's go to the chat, see what they're saying, and we'll talk with them. All right. So Mr. Tickle Truck says Newsom is the guy from American Psycho. Of course, he wants to get to the top of tier politics. Is he that good looking? Do you think he's that good looking? Is he from American Psycho, Scott? Do you think?
I think. Look, these people are all narcissists, and who knows, like the levels of depravity that these people have, stooped to in private.
Psychos are worse than narcs. You know that. Psychos are worse. Let's see. Deborah Cohen says, yeah, Biden needs to retire and just chill. Now, you know what gets me actually about this is that they say that he got the highest they got a higher black vote than Obama. And this is the man who, how many times has he stated in Congress, like made racist proclamations? When he was it in the late 70s? He said something to the effect of, "I don't want to integrate the schools because I don't want my son going to a jungle."
Yeah,
and that's the guy who gets the highest black vote. The higher than the first black president.
Yeah. In the 80s, he was absolutely against homosexual marriage. I mean, it's absolutely changed, and he probably doesn't even remember the 1970s or 80s at this point.
Well, I think it's pretty safe to assume that. But kind of goes back to the whole the parties flipped thing, the whole racist excuse parties. Well, the parties flipped. The Democrats were the racists, and then it was the Republicans, and that was after Lyndon Johnson, who was Speaker of the House at the time, signed the Civil Rights Bill. That excuse has been used because many Democrats left that party and registered Republican in protest to the Democratic Party for signing into the Civil Rights Bill. I'm sorry, that didn't flip the damn part. That didn't flip the damn parties and who was espousing what they were built upon. What their beliefs were built upon. You can look at a history after the Democratic Republican Party split into two because they were the same party at one time. And to be fair, in my opinion, they're both sides of the same coin. I mean, this two-party system does not work. But you can't tell me that someone like Biden, who was very racist, very segregationist, is this person that they're trying to say that he is, or have been trying to say that he is. And as far as, fighting for equity, not equality, but equity, that horrible term. I just don't buy it. I've never bought it. I've never bought it from this guy. And when it comes to, especially in today's climate, when they're talking about trans rights, gay rights, LGBT, let the trainees read books to your kids at the library, and let the parades, let them wave dongs in the parades at your kids. I don't think in this current climate that someone like Biden, who Tina just mentioned, is very homophobic, it's a very hateful toward gays, is this person that they're propping him up to be. It was an emergency. It was an emergency case when they brought this man to get him elected to steal the election in 2020. And it was a mistake. It was a mistake. Should have just let. The system hates Trump so much that it's willing to put someone like that in the White House, and then continue. I'm confused by it. I'm confused. Is that how bad our politics have fallen? I mean, Scotty, am I wrong about any of this? Do you agree with any of it? Am I off my kilter?
No, you're not. The confusion is real, and it's because they don't actually stand on anything. They just flow with they're floating on the ocean of emotion kind of a thing. They say they're narcissists, right? At the political level, they say whatever they think they need to say to win in that moment. And they're playing a long game, but not really in the narrative. The narrative is just to win in that moment. And therefore, one day they'll say one thing and the next day they'll say the exact opposite because they don't care. It's not about being consistent in the long run.
Damn right.
It's about having a long game, but there's no consistency in the short game. They're out to win this war, and That's why it's so confusing, because that's how you keep your enemy off balance. We've been in narcissistic relationships where we can't figure. We've had people in our lives, as we've talked about this, where they lie to us and they gaslight us, and they say one thing one day and they say the exact opposite the next day, and that keeps you off balance. Therefore, they have the upper hand, and so it's a tactic. I believe it's a tactic. They're confusing the hell out of the general public, because we don't know exactly where they stand. You know, he'll lie in a speech over here. He'll say one thing in a speech over here, and the next speech over here, he'll say that he never did that. And it's like, ah! And that's I think what they're doing on purpose. And that's why the confusion is real.
Well, the confusion is real. They're playing off of people's emotions with nonsensical arguments and debates. I mean, bullshit. Now, Tina, bullshit has never been, never been excluded from politics, right?
Oh, absolutely not. And I think that I thought that technology was going to bring that to light, because obviously, decades ago, the speech you made in New York could be entirely different than the speech you made in Chicago, because neither audience is going to be aware of the other. Even even with the traditional media like newspaper and radio. So now one would think, with everything available at the touch of a keyboard, that you could say, oh my goodness, he said this here, he said that there. I mean, he's flip-flopping, because remember, we used to hear that term all the time in the 80s and 90s. And but now it's just it's just a matter of confusion, because you don't know who to follow, so you follow the crowd. And the crowd is led by those like George Soros with money.
Right. Psychopaths. Yeah.
And to sort of follow up right there, that's where Trump shines. Trump shines because he's consistent. Trump shines because he doesn't flip-flop. Trump shines because you don't have that with him. He says what he means what he says, and he does what he says. And that drives them crazy. And also because what he's doing and what he's saying is totally against them, and it's exposing them. But as I think you and I have talked, Stephen, Trump is some kind of a Sigma. He's a Sigma, which is the most horrifying thing to a psychopath. Because they're fearless and they'll expose the psychopath.
And also, one of the things that is used against people who stand up to, those types of personalities, ego, confidence in oneself. And so do you think that Trump is a megalomaniac, or do you think he is confident in himself?
Yeah, he's confident. And that's what scares them. And of course, they're going to redirect the narrative to making him seem like he's a, narcissist or something that's not true at all. He's consistent. He's confident. You can't get hardly anything done without consistency and confidence, and that's what he emboldens: consistency and confidence.
Tina, do you think that he's a megalomaniac or confident? What do you think?
I think he's extremely confident. I mean, people keep saying, "Oh, that this many businesses he started went bankrupt." Well, sure. So do 97% of all business startups fail within the first 5 years. So you can't get him for that. One would think that a megalomaniac would say, okay, once I am the president, I'm going to be what is close to a dictator. But he is one of the most supportive politicians of states' rights.
Yes.
Following the Constitution, letting the local populations elect their leaders for their political views. So that means if you've got to cross the line to have a particular procedure or live a particular life, that's fine, because you have the freedom to move there. And that's all that Donald Trump is saying in response to many of these supposedly controversial issues.
Well said.
Well said. Well said. And Papa's bringing up stuff that I actually, that's valid. But I don't know if I can. I don't know how far I can dip into this one on YouTube. But and it's been said by his daughter. These are things that are known. But still, even if they were just allegations, even with these things circling, his son's laptop, for God's sakes, which some of the information on the laptop was released, and it's horrid. It's horrid. Oh God, I need to go to Rumble at some point. He is evil. Joe Biden is evil. He's a part of this. He's a part of the systemic problem that has been involved with the abuses of people and underage people for a long time. But he's a part of the oligarchy. He's a part of the system. I've said this 100,000 times. I'll say it 100,000 more. The system freaked out when Trump ran because, especially when he got elected, he is not a member of that system. He does not pray to their gods. He does not do the things that they do. And because of that, because he doesn't capitulate to their narratives and their system, their corruption and corrupt way of running things, he's an enemy. He is an enemy of the system. This is why I support Donald Trump. And it's hard. Just go back and look at how the world reacted and everything that has happened since. Not the narrative, okay, but look at what CNN was saying. Look at what other politicians were saying. Look at what the world media was saying at the time, and then take a look at what Trump actually did or said. I'm not saying the man's perfect, but he is nowhere near the monster that they painted him out to be. And in my opinion, the pandemic, the faulty election, all of this, your gas prices at this time, guys, your bills, the jobs that you may not have right now, the raises you may not have gotten, how much groceries are now, all of this came from a system freaking out because someone outside of their club was in the White House, and they punished us all for it.
Yep.
That's my opinion.
Yeah. It's just a big club. And Biden has said, you've probably seen the clips where he said that they, I don't think he was supposed to say this on camera, but he said that they have set up the greatest election fraud system ever devised. Have you seen that clip?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that's why is that? That's to keep, it's only the club allowed. That's why.
Absolutely, and I wonder if you don't mind me sharing a comment, Stephen, that CJH brings up an excellent point when we're talking about this election rigging phony system. Is an example, Jim Carrey received CIA training for his Grinch role, so it makes sense that he, as Biden, or everyone that are his handlers, so to speak, would have ties to the CIA. So could there possibly be a Biden out there in the debate that just happened, or in the future, that there is someone in a Biden mask, or we're going to get AI deep fake videos at this point, because CJ also says that it makes sense that the CIA would have an actor pretending to be the president just to get rid of Trump.
Yeah, I'm going to try. Go ahead.
There was that picture of Biden's head from behind, and he moved his finger back here to scratch an itch, and it was like a very thin latex rubber was like wrinkled on his neck. You've seen that?
Oh, I haven't seen that. Oh my!
But share it in Rogue Chat if you can, please, because so I can. Do you see the screen share? Do you see the screen share up right now, Scotty?
It's not on StreamYard, but I do see it on author Stephen Walton.
Damn. I wanted to play this.
On StreamYard, Deborah Cohen's comment is still stuck there on the left side.
Oh, that's weird.
Is it really?
It's like StreamYard is lagging for you or something.
Yeah. Yeah, StreamYard isn't working for you today exactly. But this is what CJH was. I think he wanted me to play this.
Is that Jim Carrey on the left?
Oh, here we go. All right. I'm not sure. What is this? This is
yes, that is Jim Carrey when he played Biden on SNL. It was near the beginning of this season or last season.
Oh, damn.
He did an amazing job.
I had not seen that. What? You think we could play the clip, Tina? Do you think it'd be all right?
I think maybe if we pause briefly and comment on it, I think that we absolutely could, because it plays to the point that we're discussing AI deepfakes, and that's what we have here.
It's a spooky time, filled with demons and darkness. Also, it's Halloween.
Saturday Night Live's Halloween episode came at a spooktacular time this year, airing just 3 days before the 2020 election.
There's another holiday right around the corner. Election Day. If you're like most Americans, you're excited to vote. And
Isn't that absolutely frightening? I mean, Jim Carrey did an amazing impression on the left, and how easy it was to end up with what is on the right, which
What's on the right?
impeccable. Now it shows none of the confusion and the fugue state that Biden currently portrays. However, if you went back and said that this was somewhere in the mid 2000s, that I absolutely would believe that that is real.
Yeah, that's incredible. I can't believe how much technology has what they can do, man. That's insane to me. Okay. Can you see it, Scotty?
Yeah, yes, I can see it in author Stephen Walton. Yeah, that's crazy.
Okay. What do you think of it?
I think they can do anything these days. I mean, the whole deep fake thing, it's absolutely real. AI we have arrived. They can do anything. They can do anything. And I'm sure we're all being fooled in ways that we don't even know. Yeah.
And it's really crazy because the left tends to say that we are this cult that's following Trump. However, I can have a conversation with my parent who just happens to be a narcissist, but anyway, and they will say, well, look at what Trump did, and he supposedly is attracted to his daughter and has made comments about the fact that he would be interested in having a relationship with her if it wasn't her daughter. And I said, well, what about the stories of Biden and his daughter? Won't mention them, but can you? Doesn't that say that they're at least equally as despicable if you truly believe that? And she said, oh, no. All that stuff about his Biden and his daughter, that's a deep fake. That didn't happen. So wait a minute. We're supposed to believe that every story the left tells about Trump is absolute fact, but anything derogatory said about Biden, oh, that's just fake. That's not real.
Oh man, yeah, the mental gymnastics that it takes. I think we should try and be as objective as we can when we're looking at these candidates. I mean, I checked out of politics a while ago, and then it was the 2016 election that got me kind of interested in watching it because I thought the Trump was entertaining. But I got tired of politics because of the hyperbole. I got tired of it because it was you have to toe the line. You have to believe this narrative, or you're not truly supporting your party. That's what. Like I'm a 90s liberal. That's where I'm at, and I get it. Anybody that's like, what about the Clintons? I get it. But I got to a point where as I grew older and became more open-minded and started, listening to other people's points of view, I didn't hate who I was supposed to hate. Being a Philly area raised liberal, we're supposed to hate conservatives, we're supposed to hate, the Republicans. They're all slave-owning Southerners, which is really weird because that's the opposite is true or was true, historically. But as I got older, I listened to more people's points of view, and I got to understand and talk to them. And I found out that they, certain just because they had a different point of view, they weren't the enemy, and some of their points of view actually made sense. And I didn't toe the line, and so I wasn't a part of the club. That is not that's following a cult. That's not looking at your politicians or looking at laws or looking at proposed laws objectively. It's putting your emotions into it. It's having to toe a certain line, or you are not a true Democrat or a true Republican, whatever the case may be. And I don't believe in that. I never have, which is kind of, Tina, you were talking about identifying more as libertarian in your thoughts. It's like, well, I've registered libertarian because I got tired of them both. I felt But one of the things that talking to others and hearing other points of view and taking the time to listen and understand where they come from is has been a blessing from working in this indie sphere and talking to other people who are conservatives, religious conservatives, independents. To keep Christ, Tickle Trunk's my best friend. That dude's an atheist. I'm the most spiritual motherfucker I know, and he's my friend too. But keeping an open mind is so very important. If we do not keep an open mind and we do not look at things, and if we're not given facts, first off, which mainstream media doesn't do, but if we don't take the time to get to know one another and we believe that we're supposed to be nice pussy, and we don't, and we stay rigid in our beliefs, then no conversation can take place, no understanding can take place. And I think that's really where these politicians want to keep us. I think that's like where the legacy politicians, that's where I think they want to keep us. Kind of went on a little bit of a rant there and it went everywhere. Sorry, guys. I'll pass my bedtime.
That's the most Garfield looking adorable kitten that I've seen in a very long time. And he or she looks to be at least 3 times the size of my little puppy dog. That if you go back to the beginning of the stream, you'll see the picture of my little 5-pound angel. But
right on. That's Toby, the little boy.
Toy.
I'm in an apartment, so he doesn't get a whole lot of exercise. So he's trying to keep that. Don't want him to get too big, but I sent a link. I sent a link in a Rogue chat. If you take a look, Stephen, of this, it's this footage of Biden from behind, and he scratches his neck, and then it's kind of like this latex wrinkle happens, and it's just weird. It's unlike my skin couldn't do that.
All right, give me a second.
And so a lot of all I did was I went into X, Twitter, and I just typed in Biden mask, and then all this stuff came up, and there's something going on there. And the CIA, they have a whole department about making masks and stuff. Yeah,
all right.
Go a couple seconds.
Take a look at it.
Yeah, you'll see. It's only 13 seconds. You'll see his finger go over there just behind his right ear, and then you'll see this really weird wrinkle. Oh my gosh, that's a mask. And it just stays there.
Oh my God!
Watch right here.
Holy cow!
Right here. What the hell is that?
And he was a very.
I don't understand.
Oh my gosh, how bizarre! I mean, unless he's severely dehydrated, that's the only time I would see skin wrinkle and remain like that.
Yeah. No, I think Tina, he's a lizard person. He's one of them.
Possible, but hopefully the 1980s version of E and not the more modern interpretation.
He claims that that's just thin skin. He's like 80 years old. It's a possibility. Yeah, it's a possibility. Yeah. Any final thoughts on the debates before we close down? Tina, do you have any final thoughts or anything you'd like to say you would expect to happen?
Honestly, I don't know, and this is probably one of the first times that I have no words or think that I'm just going to be surprised at whatever comes next. You know what I mean? You hear the rumors that Biden will be replaced or Trump will be imprisoned or worse will happen, and it does scare me because I think about the fact that there are enough angry individuals on both sides, as well as enough depressed individuals on both sides that we could end up with a civil war. I mean, we already have, a Texas that would love to secede from the Union over all of this insanity, and that attitude could very easily spread. And there's a lot of communities, like the word willing and able to defend our liberties. So it could turn evil quickly. So when Ryan says that their only way to prevent that, besides stealing a second election, would be to put us in the middle of a war with Russia. Which would be horrible. I mean, the only thing that might do is expose these young liberals to a draft, and then
Mhm.
I'd love to see their, oh, I would just not go, or I would
Yeah.
I would just not hold that gun. I would
Right.
just not fire that gun. And I'm like, oh, let me see this. This could be a good movie.
Mm.
So
Yeah, right. Well said. Yeah, I mean, they wouldn't have time to get operations. Would they argue about getting pronouns on their uniform? Do you think that might be a
that's the funny
problem?
part, because I could see them actually saying that they would want to be able to pick their uniform. So I would love to see the pink camo that
Oh,
that would
yes.
be perfect in combat, right?
Rainbow patch.
Exactly. Exactly. But in all sincerity, I actually I am afraid. I really am. And
Mhm.
both of my sons are still spend most of their time in a university, because one is postgraduate work, and the other should be finishing up his degree in December. And with all the horrible things that happened just recently with campus protests, I fear for them, because they're already conservatives living in an environment that is extremely hostile for them.
Yeah.
And it can only get worse.
Bless their hearts. Strong kids, Tina. Raised them right. I'm sorry. Go ahead,
Thank
Scotty.
you. They're good boys.
Civil War is on the table, I suppose, but Trump's not even talking about that. He's talking about World War III. That's what he's actually talking about. Let me put another link in Rogue Chat. Let's see, paste this. Okay, so I made a video in December about this, and I popped in. I copied the link, but I copied it, Stephen. If you want to show it, it's like at the exact moment. It's about 13 minutes in, and I'm showing a timeline about what's coming this year. But I also show some clips of Trump and his speech. And he did this the other night as well. He did this Thursday night. He keeps saying the same thing, that World War III is inevitable. It's coming. And he keeps saying, I'm going to stop it. Not Civil War, or World War III is what he's going to stop. And as you know, on this channel, Stephen, I talk about the biblical prophetic timeline. And that's what this video is about. And I literally, what I eventually go into is Bible verses showing what's coming, and how what is going on in the political sphere seems to be playing perfectly, aligning with things that were written thousands of years ago.
All right. I'm going to play it now. Okay, bud?
Sure.
Got it? All right.
There could be a scare. And so I've been saying this for a while, that, and it's because, you hear the politicians talking about it. I think that the news cycle next year in 2024 is going to be, it's going to be a pretty big deal. If I'm right, and I'm not making this up, I'm getting it from, like, say, Donald Trump and certain politicians talking about World War III coming.
But I'm the only candidate who can make this promise. I will prevent World War III. I will prevent it. Not going to happen. And we're much closer than you think right now to having it. And at some point it will happen. It will happen. I will prevent it. I'm the only one that can say it. I know them all. I know how to deal with them. I deal with them. I will get it done. I will get it done.
I think that World War III is not actually going to hit us. I think that it will be stopped.
This is the final battle. With you at my side, we will demolish the deep state. We will expel the warmongers from our government. We will drive out the globalists. We will cast out the communists, Marxists, and fascists. And we will throw off the sick political class that hates our country. We will rout the fake news media, and we will defeat crooked Joe Biden. We will liberate America from these villains once and for all.
And if it's stopped, then I think what could it be is this right here. Daniel 9:27. A peace agreement. Daniel 9:27 is the answer to World War III scare. And so if that happens, then that kicks off the 70th week, which you've seen in my timelines. I always do blue first and then red, peace and safety, and then sudden destruction, because this is a peace agreement. That doesn't mean that Trump is the Antichrist. That just means that he might facilitate stopping World War III. And if that's the case, then that could be the perfect scenario. Down at the bottom, talking about the future Antichrist figure, it says that he will confirm a covenant with many, the covenant with many for 1 week, and in the midst of the week, that's 3.5 years in, he shall cause the sacrifice and the oblation to cease. And for the overspreading of abominations, he shall make it desolate, even unto the consummation, and that determined shall be poured upon the desolate. So it's a 7-year period. I believe that the temple is going to be rebuilt. They're going to start the sacrifice system, and then it's going to be stopped. That's what's going to happen. And that's basically this here. It's Israel's peace and safety, and then Israel's tribulation. Again, my dates are speculative. I'm just doing some, some number crunching with the verses and whatnot. This might not be how it works out, but it's just really interesting that all of this is happening. All of this is happening next year. That is on the schedule. So we'll see what happens. And from there.
So, Scotty. You still listening? Hey, Scotty. You there?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I am. This is not my language at all. So break this down for me. What? I'm a pagan man. This is not my language, bro. I'm a heathen. I don't. So, what's your timeline is based on? Pagan man. This is not my language, bro.
Okay, I had two things going up, and I was having a delay. Okay, start that over again. I think I'm.
I just wanted to ask you to explain to me and to the audience, anyone that doesn't. I'm not familiar with the Bible like that, so explain to me what it is, what this timeline is, and your explanation of what you saw.
So the basic synopsis is that Genesis through Revelation is it's a story of God's dealing with primarily a specific nation named Israel. They're huge in the news today. They've always been this force, and they've been, come against, and they keep rising, and God is doing something specific with them. And so this whole book, Genesis through Revelation, is a story of God dealing with them, but he also gave them promises, which means that he's what's called prophecy. He's spoken things in advance about what I'm going to do with you, in the same way that, like, before you go to work, you say, honey, I'm going to go to the store to pick up some groceries after work. You're telling the future. And then what you do is you do what you say you're going to do. You go to the store after work and you pick up whatever you're going to do. So we prophesy the future all the time. We say, I'm going to do a live stream Friday night, and then you do it, right? So that's what Bible prophecy is. It's just God saying in advance what he's going to do. And he's said that he's going to do certain things with Israel. He's given them this prophecy in Daniel 9, which is a certain period of 70 weeks, and they're weeks of years. So 7 years, 7 years, 7 years, 7 years, 7 years, 70 times, 70 weeks. 69 at the time of the cross when Jesus died, 69 of those weeks have been completed. There's 1 week left to go. And that's what's on the screen here. Split blue and red, 3.5 years and 3.5 years. The Bible talks about in Daniel and in Revelation and in Paul in 1 Thessalonians, I talk about this. It takes the 70th week, which is a 7-year period, and it breaks it into 2 very specific parts. The first 3.5 years is a time of peace and safety. And then it's like a narcissistic love bomb, which then is the true colors come out in the middle of the week, 3.5 years in, and then it's a time of devaluation, right? And so that's what the red part is. But the thing is that you have to have, it's going to be this global peace agreement type of thing, right? And it's Israel is told that they have 7 years, but see, that's the love bomb. You have 7 years, but then the trick is that it's taken away, the peace is taken away from them 3.5 years in, right? So it's love bomb and then devaluation when you're least expecting it. So that's what it is. how do you get some kind of a like an agreement maybe with the UN or with Israel? What's the purpose of a peace agreement if it isn't the reason for stopping something like world war? And so this has been a theory of mine for a while. Like, how does this Bible verse, Daniel 9:27, how does this take place? My theory is that there has to be it has to rise to a level of a global situation. And I've got these clips, and he just did it again on Thursday night at the debate. He keeps saying, I'm going to stop World War III. Why is he saying that? World War III, not just a local Hamas and Israel situation. That's not what the Bible verse is about. It's literally bigger than that, much bigger than that. And we literally have a situation where Trump has been calling for about a year now. I've been collecting these clips of him saying, I'm going to stop World War III, and it's coming. He says, we're closer to it than you think, but I'm going to stop it. How does he stop it? He's going to facilitate a peace agreement. And he did this kind of thing with Jared Kushner, the Abraham Accords. He did this like 4 years ago. 4 to 8 years ago, he was working on this type of a thing with Israel, which is what the Bible verses are about, Israel. So he already has proven that he can get people together to create peace, but it hasn't taken place of being the solution of like stopping world war yet. But that's exactly what he's saying. And that's exactly what this Bible verse says. It doesn't say nuclear world war. You have to understand the language of the Bible to see into that, which I think I do. And so I made this video back in December, but I've been talking about this for a long time, and it's probably time for me to make another update video. But here's the thing. I don't have to change a damn thing I said. It was like 6 months ago I said that. And it's still on the table.
Wow, brother. Impressive. Thank you for sharing that, dude.
I find that absolutely fascinating. I have almost 20 years of the Catholic education, all the way through, one of my graduate degrees. And one of the things, plus I also taught at a Catholic university. And one of the things they teach is that the church is just a version of the body of Christ. So the idea that that we would need a modern Messiah, I find is interesting. Someone who's going to bring bring a peace to the world. And then that 3.5 years I find so interesting, because how long are presidential
the terms?
Yes, thank you. We're talking 4 years. So someone gets elected 6 months in, prevents what would have been World War III, and we get our 3.5 years of peace. And then what happens? Another stolen election, and there's where the tribulation begins. So it's very fascinating.
Wow.
Yeah, it's if you want to, you can share the link. It's on my YouTube channel. But primarily though, I have a different take. I grew up. I've been paying attention to this Bible prophecy thing for like all my life. I was a Catholic altar boy when I was a little kid, like 12 years old, and then we changed to a Presbyterian church, and I started playing drums when I was about 12 years old, and then I started playing drums in church at about 16, 17, and I played it. I was a church drummer like until I was in my 40s. And so I've been in this church thing for a long time, and I've been paying attention to these guys talking about, the future coming and what the Bible says about the future. So I've been really into this for a long time, which is what my channel is all about. The tribulation, the red part on the timeline, it's blue, which is good for 3.5 years, and then it turns to red. That red part is literally, it talks about the archangel Michael and his 2/3 of the good angels casting the 1/3 of the bad angels out of the heavenly realms. And the bad angels with Lucifer, this is in Revelation 12, he gets cast down to the earth. And then what he does is he persecutes the bloodline. It's all about bloodlines. And he hates the Hebrews. And the tribulation period, all the verses about the tribulation, it's not actually about America. I think we're going to be making America. I think we're going to be like pretty safe over here. We're going to be making America great again, but Israel's going to be going through this persecution on a spiritual level. We've dealt with narcissists who are possessed by demons. I have. It's real. But this is like on the next level. Israel is going to literally Bible talks about many of them lose their heads. They get their heads cut off. That's in Revelation 20, verse 1, 2, 3, 4 in there. And many are martyred. But it's the Israelis. It's the Hebrews who they go through tribulation. Tribulation is another word for persecution. They go through persecution in the same way that in World War II they were persecuted. This is just the next level. I don't believe anymore. I used to believe this narrative that like we're all going to go through tribulation. It's the context is that it's focused on Israel, which is a good thing for us. I think we're going to be making America great again. But over there in Israel, it's going to be a local bad situation for them. It's their problem. It really is their problem. It's going to be their problem.
Do you think, though, that our past history of supporting Israel, at least politically and militarily, do you think that would have an impact on us, at least in that way? Would we be expected to step up and, be a big brother to Israel and have some type of participation in whatever struggles that they're going through?
No, I think they're going to be on their own this time. They're going to be big time on their own. Matter of fact, there's a lot of different levels to this, to the understanding that I've adhered to. There is a military group called Q, which is another, people call it a conspiracy theory. It's literally, it's the reason why Trump is winning. He's backed not just by the people, he's backed by a military organization, which is in the shadows called Q. Q has done a whole lot of posts in 2017, 18, and 19 on specific sort of private websites. And one of the things that they talk about Israel, one of the posts is, and it's like a prophetic post. They've talked about this long game about how to defeat the deep state, which is what we're watching right now. We just don't realize that we're watching something that's been scripted a long time. Trump is not just winning organically. This is a plan. He's destroying the deep state. And one of the Q posts, it says that they're saving Israel for last, for a very specific reason never mentioned in the other Q posts. They know that Israel is the problem. They know that these people they're very much spiritually charged. They're demonically charged. These people have been under attack from the evil powers that be for such a long time. There are good Hebrews and there are some very bad Hebrews. The bad ones are running the world. Those people have to be dealt with. Those people are the bloodline of the deep state, actually. They're God's people, but they're also the ones that have been, obviously the Bible talks about them being the apple of his eye. It's kind of like his crown jewel of nations. Well, that's the one that Satan wants then, because he's a narcissist. He's the ultimate narcissist. If God says that this is my favorite thing, then Satan wants God's favorite thing. That's the whole point. And so that's why that they have been such a huge force of not only persecution, but also they're like the most evil people in the world too, their government situation. But the Bible talks about when Jesus comes, he's going to purify that nation, because they're, I don't know how much I can say on YouTube, but they are the worst. And it's because of a spiritual problem. But Jesus is coming because Jesus came through that bloodline. He's going to come purify it. He's going to come fix it. But up until the end, they're going to be the most demonic people that we've ever seen as well. And they're the ones trying to control everything and destroy everything. It's an amazing story. It's all in the Bible. You won't really probably hear it so much in church. I've dug into this in a way where I apply not just the biblical narrative and the verses in context, but I take a look at what's going on in the whole, like in the media and in politics and watching this Q phenomenon as well, the military that's coming to take them out. Everything is converging in the next few years. That's what this whole thing is. And I try to lay some of that out in this video, but I probably need to start doing an update on that. It's fascinating. I could keep going on and on about it, but it just seems like it's all been planned. It's all written out. It's all written out. Most people don't have the eyes to see it. If that answers that question.
Yeah, brother. Thank you. Thank you very much. Tina, do you have any more questions?
Not at this time. I'm very intrigued and definitely want to go take a look at not only your video, those Bible verses again. That's pretty profound.
It's that's what the Bible is. It's not just reading it chronologically. It's over thousands of years. God compiled. He used these people, the Hebrews, the Israelites, to write a book, and God would say certain things to them at certain periods of time, hundreds, thousands of years, and then finally he got this whole canon, Genesis through Revelation, and you can read it chronologically and just read through the books, but you're not going to see it. It's literally meant to be taken this verse over here in the prophets and then connect it to something that Paul said, like the prophets and the apostles. It's literally a massive jigsaw puzzle that most pastors are not going to teach you how to do this because they don't know how to do it themselves. But I've learned how to look at the Bible and say, this verse is a piece of that verse over there. And they've been written. These are the prophets long before Jesus, and then this is a prophet after Jesus, and they're saying the same thing. It's just you get a little piece of it here and a little piece of it there. When you put them together, you start to see a big puzzle coming together, and it's fascinating. It's absolutely fascinating, and that's what I've been doing on my channel. Yeah,
that's great.
Guys, please check out Scott Clarke's channel if you are interested in hearing more about this. Man, thank you very much for bringing your insights, brother.
And so World War III, why is Trump talking about, you're welcome, why is Trump talking about World War III right now? And that he's going to stop it. That's the big question.
All right. Well, we've been going on 3 hours.
Because they're backed into a corner. The deep state's backed into a corner. And just like a dog that has no other options, they're going to bite. And they're going to bite hard. That's what it is.
Damn, brother. I'm at the 3 hour mark. And so I'm going to close everything out. Tina, is there anything you'd like to promote? Anyone? Any shows?
Just my 2 shows of the week that I actively participate in, and that is on Monday nights with Scotty. We do our Spork of Ice and Fire show, which we review the most recent episode of House of the Dragon, and then on Friday nights, my boys, as I actually call them, is Ascendant Art Podcast. Slender Dad and Little Chad, as well as guests like Culture Casino and Mad Cheesemo and Brahmable. They're a fantastic, great group of guys. We have a lot of fun on the stream. I'm in the chats, and I get quite animated in the chats after the first hour goes by when the ambient starts to kick in. So if you want to see funny, even funnier and more confusing Bad Take Bojan, check out Ascendant Art Podcast on Friday nights.
Excellent people. Wonderful, wonderful crew. Thank you for being here, Tina. Appreciate you.
You are quite welcome. Thank you for the invite.
Yeah. Scotty, anything you want to promote, sir, besides our show tomorrow night?
I think I just promoted my channel just now.
You did. You did. You went in.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. I've been heavily into the timelines. What's coming? What's the future hold? Because I think we have a book that talks about it. And then when you pay attention to politics, it's like, wow, it's not off. It seems like that's what's happening. Yeah.
Right.
So that's been my thing. So going back to the debate and what we're talking about tonight, all of this has meaning, and all of this, I believe, the God of Israel, which I think is the real God, the God of Israel knows exactly what's happening. He already talked about it. We just ignore it. We just don't read the Bible, but it's all in there, and it's coming. And it's fascinating if you pay attention to what is written, and then also pay attention to what is going on with Trump and the news and this election. It's like, wow, it's connected. I really think it is.
Well, you keep me apprised, brother. I love your wisdom, man. Thank you so much for being here. And please check out Scott Clarke's channel. Link is in the chat. And come check us out on Lowdown to Dragonstorm tomorrow night. The team, the Rogue team over there, it's going to be myself, Scott Clarke, Coach Randy White. We're also going to have guests Narkhammer and Rodfather over. And we're going to have a great stream. We look at content creators who do narcissistic abuse awareness and recovery every week. Different creator. We look through their content, talk about what we think, have great discussions. And it's a good healing space for anybody out there who's been through any type of abusive relationship, situation, family. Come on by. Dragon Story community loves you and appreciates you being here. Make sure, y'all, to support your independent creators out there. I don't care what lunch table they sit at, who they friends with. If you like them, support them, because we don't have an industry to support us. We only have each other, and we rise together. Make sure to share out links to your favorite shows, live streams, support everybody out there. Fight the industry. All right, we do not kneel. I am author Stephen Walton, the Fandom Menace historian, your historian, born in the chats of the High Council with my brothers and sisters fighting for our modern mythologies. And I need you to wash your hands, wash your ass, be good to each other, yet suffer no fools. Peace.
When you're born in this world, you're given a ticket to the freak show. And when you're born in America, you're given a front row seat.
Wash your